All the best, Matthew. Good luck. This is Mike doing the toss. Hey, Chris. This is Mike doing the toss. Matty, it's your call. Way you go, Mike. Yes. Okay. It's cool. That's a tail. Okay. Thank you.
Tigers win the toss. They're going towards the city end of the ground. Bit of a breeze about, but an overcast day. Chance of a shower maybe. Heavy cloud over the MCG. And the Tigers, as we heard, trying to finish the season in a blaze of glory. Win their games in the run home. And of course the Dogs, they've lost 7 in a row. Well, it's been a big week for the Bulldogs. A young man tied one on, and today they've included a young man from Taiwan. Amazing. Life mirrors art. Robert Murphy. And we congratulate that young man. He's fought his way through to being a Bulldog this afternoon. Lin Yong. The stories he could tell to get him to the MCG. Not a bad place to start, though. The Dogs have been disappointing. We've seen them a lot, and the big problem they seem to have, Timmy, is they can't kick goals.
That's been a massive problem for them, Dennis. All season, they've been averaging about 8 goals in recent times, so that's just not enough to get it done. That is just not enough to get it done. And look, they're well aware of their problems they have, and they've tried all different arrangements just trying to rectify that situation, because they are actually winning a lot of the centre bounce clearances, and they've done well around the clearances around the ground. Either Marich, that's going to be a really interesting battle between him and Will Minson this afternoon. Both big physical forward type ruckman. Brett Deledio, you've got to keep Brett Deledio on a chain. Looks like Picken has gone to him. And that bloke on screen now, Jake King, I always reckon he's the barometer in terms of the intensity the Tigers show.
Underway then, the opening bounce taken by Cochin. King, the barometer, sends it long down towards full forward. Lurking at the back is Jack, and Jack at the back takes the mark. Uh-oh.
I tell you what, if you want to get a couple of blokes involved in the game early, I mean, Cochin to King, and that really long, deep searching kick, that puts a defence, particularly out of the centre bounce clearance, under enormous pressure immediately.
So Revolt, point blank range, should put it through for the opening goal, and he does. Some guys you don't want getting touches as a coach, do you, in the opposition?
Not early ones.
Yeah, that's right. The longer you can deprive them of the footy, the better.
And that was a Marich tap too. That was a really good, strong bit of play from him in the ruck. You see, Roughhead's actually gone to Revolt. That's an experiment that has had moderate success so far, the Western Bulldogs Roughhead, as a defender. And they are just desperate to be able to find a position for him on the ground.
Well, that took 37 seconds, and our man tells us the Tigers are on track for about 115 goals this afternoon if they continue on. So from Cochin to King to Revolt, and back into the centre we go. Ivan Marich and Minson, the two big men, square off in the middle. Marich just knocks it down. A little quick in the end for Edwards. Jackson gets tackled by Lin Jong, who, as we said, comes into this side. 4 teenagers this afternoon. He and Fletcher Roberts are the debutants. Born a day apart, as it turns out.
Minson, Bulldogs.
Well, it's Edwards that's gone to Boyd, so he was obviously chosen to run with Griffin today.
And it's Boyd who kicks inside 50. Well, Lake is there. Off hands it goes post. He'll get wrapped up in the end and gets taken to ground, and Campbell does a good job of it for the moment. So 4 teenagers out there for the Dogs, 2 debutants today, and 6 players who've debuted this year. Add it all together, and it's an inexperienced list and a tough old year for the Dogs.
Well, you could be optimistic and say it could be a great victory this afternoon. Against the odds, Dixon, like him, Minson chasing the footy, but King got there first. Cochin again returns the favour, goes to the outer side. Marich hand passes inside. This is Conker, goes down towards half forward. The man on the deck is the problem. That's Edwards. It was brilliantly played, knocked down. Now there's trouble. Down goes McGuan. He was the man who did the knocking initially. Comes unglued there. Quick thinking by McGuan. Edwards couldn't control it on the outer side. The veteran Hargrave drives towards half forward. Campbell, was he pushed in the back? I think he was. He'll get the kick.
That's going to be an interesting matchup too. Brian Lake going forward and Rance picking him up. We know how strong he is in the air, Brian Lake.
Well, Brian Lake, that's the man that Campbell kicks to. Used his body okay in the again against Griffiths, and the boundary line beats Slake in the end. So an interesting move, Tim. You would have thought Revolt, Lake shoulder to shoulder?
Yeah, you would have thought that, but they've been imaginative, the coaching staff of the Bulldogs. They're just trying to find a combination in the forward line that's capable of kicking a winning score.
Well, Rance ends up
Oh, no, he didn't dive on it.
underneath it all.
Thanks, just stand up, thanks.
I mean, Lake's not going to be that lead up tight forward, so he's going to pretty much anchor himself within 30 metres of the goal.
So Minson just knocks it down in the end. Wallace just sharks out the back. Quick fire at goal. And the first score of the afternoon for the Doggies.
Back here, Brian.
Boys, as expected, Liam Picken has got the job on Cochin, it appears, so he's going to try and limit Cochin's influence, but already Cochin's got his hands on the ball, so he'd want to tighten up a bit.
Hooley on the outer side, hard against the boundary line, sends a high ball towards the wing. Runs free in front. Hooley again. Cochin, plenty of touches, misses that time intended for King. They've got something going on, that pair, and we've got a boundary throw in. Interesting moments ago at the base of the pack, there was Wallace and Rance, and of course their dads. Great friends, teammates with the Western Bulldogs, or as they were. Footscray. Nice chain of hand passes. Delidio got the last one to Newman. Kicks inside the forward 50, well, almost, but it's going to be downfield. McGuan will get the free.
Against Will Mitson.
Gee, Cochin's been hot early. He's up to 4 disposals already and 2 clearances. 2 of those have been contested, so his work in and around the contest, his ability to be able to send a player free from a stoppage is extraordinary.
Potentially a great play. There goes the kick from McGuan. Has it got the carry? It's tight, it's close, it's good.
Become a bit of a goal kicker, Tim, this year, McGuan. Game number 6, goal number 9, and seemingly pretty accurate, particularly from set shots.
Yeah, and they've been desperate to trying to find a partner for Revolt. They've tried Miller there, and I mean, understandably, he's not the future for the Richmond Football Club. Vickery was there for a period of time until he got injured as well. But this bloke, I mean, his job really is to make sure that he takes his direct opponent away from Jack Revolt so they can be one-on-one. Just see the celebrations here, and this has been a really good start from the Tigers. Their work around the stoppages and their ability to be able to free players up and get some overlap in their play has been evident already.
So McGuan gets his first of the afternoon off a career high of 3 last weekend. A couple of youngsters combined. Pickett sends it forward, but it's the Tigers in the end. And Ellis, who hasn't missed a game this year for the Tigers, become a pretty important cog in the wheel. Goes to Delidio. Picken, he rides him hard into Lake, and he can't control it. Conker picks it up well, runs into a bit of trouble. Skinner and Picken.
And that's a small win too when you're playing, to be able to actually lock the ball in your forward half like that, because it gives them now the potential and ability to get Will Minson in the ruck, giving his ground level players first hit.
Well, Clay Smith did well, got up high. Third man just knocked it forward. Here goes Lin Jong on debut, little one. Dixon.
He's getting the ball.
So to be
Stay out, Brett.
Dixon quickly, top of the square. Not ideal in the end for Campbell. Deep is Lake, but doing well was Post on the last line.
At the very least, that one there, Lake has to influence that contest and bring the ball to the ground. He was disadvantaged. He wasn't going to be able to outmark the ball, but you just don't want uncontested marks at that part of the ground.
Ellis to Rance then. He's in the back pocket. The umpires this afternoon, Farmer, Hay and Ryan.
Holding the man, Richmond.
Post held too long. Just short of half back. Well, that's a terrible kick onto the chest of Jakira. Plays on immediately to Grant. Grant gets the kick off down towards full forward. Favours Lake, and Lake takes the mark. Always dropping to his advantage. Griffiths couldn't get a fist in there. He got some clearance on Griffiths, and that was the story.
This is the poor kick, though, that really set it up for the Bulldogs.
Shocker.
Yeah, terrible kick. He's a good reader of the ball off the boot, though, Lake, isn't he?
Yeah,
he's the first one to react then, too.
That was his strength in defence, wasn't it? He thought like a forward in many respects. Take a good kick from here. Breeze almost directly behind him. Always narrow. So the Bulldogs are 2 behinds, and the Tigers are 2 straight goals. The first of them coming after 39 seconds.
So Newman, the skipper since 09. Exciting this year at one stage and just petered off a little bit. As we've heard earlier, they'd love to finish strongly. Tonka just gets held up for the moment from Lin Jong, and he goes to half forward. The kick was meant for McGuan off hands. Here's a chance for Jackson. Lin Jong again gets involved, takes Jackson to ground with Talia, who, well, another one of these young pups who's debuted in recent weeks. Last week for Talia against the Kangaroos. He had Drew Petrie for a bit of the afternoon, so a quick initiation to AFL football. Smith tackled, just got it wide. Lin Jong just watches on as Martin goes and bullets his way through.
Dustin Martin. Straight back.
So for the moment,
they've got to push back here, the Bulldogs. There's one-on-ones everywhere for the Tigers at the moment. They'll find some space here.
well, Martin goes in the Titch Edwards direction. Off hands, Nahas. Little give to Marich was okay. Here's a chance for Morris. Couldn't take it cleanly. Well, the heat was on in the end. Revolt goes wider still. Nahas gets around one. Looks wide. Here's a chance for Grigg on his left. Can he finish? Not this time.
When we watch the best sides in the competition, it's amazing how quickly they can get to the other end of the field to defend and just close down all those spaces. And the Bulldogs then, it was just one-on-ones everywhere. There's a lot of space for the Richmond players to operate in.
Then John coming off through the interchange gates. Good opening spell for him around the football. Murphy drives it in. Talia's the target, falls in front. Taken by Smith, gets free, wants his left foot. Squeezes a kick across towards Wallace. Wallace is at left half back. Not his best kick. Wide of the mark. Addison, he's fearless, did well. Won a 50-50 ball. Sherman coughed it up though. Jackson, tuck, comes out wide. Hooley's away. Runs down towards the 50. Kicks to the advantage of Cochin down there in the pocket. Spills behind. Edwards, open goal, kicks it. That was a very intelligent kick. The one coming in, not the goal, although that's not bad either. Looked up, it was 2-1. And he decided that the best place for it was out in front of Cochin to give him a run and at least get it out of bounds, or maybe take a mark. Did neither, but squeezing in along the boundary line was Edwards. Took it. Pack fell over. Open goal. Bang.
Jack wasn't happy then either.
Why not?
Hooley burnt him. He got on a good lead, Jack. He actually presented to the ball. And Hooley went long. Jack had a few words to say after that. Well, here's the kick from Hooley. There you see Jack with his arms up in the air, which he wasn't particularly happy about. He thought that Hooley should have lowered his eyes and kicked the ball to him. Edwards has started on board, so that's a real win for him.
That would have been not 15 play on, wouldn't it? Jack was almost running into the back of the man who was trying to tackle the kicker.
He had plenty to say after it too.
Ah, Jack.
Wallace, Hoopy, Murphy to Grant, and then just a short ball to Dixon, who's become a bit of a goal kicker in the absence of too many other options for the Dogs. Quickly, Jakiri inside and to John Syracuse. A touch play on the call.
On now.
Well, boys, Brendan McCartney would be looking for young players to stand up in the middle of the ground against the Richmond young guns of Cochin and Deledio and these types. Mitch Wallace has already started really well. The 4 touches, great to see him taking on the responsibility and hopefully shouldering the load in the middle of the ground.
It ends up with Hooper. He loses it. Edwards to Rance, now to Martin, to Deledio. The names all combining. Deledio runs through the middle. Revolt ignored again. Now it's inside 50. How will it settle for Cochin? He's got Picken to beat onto the left. Trent Cochin, just a little bit of genius. Well, a lot's been made of Trent Cochin already, and he made a lot out of not much then.
He's a superstar, and just the way they moved the ball, the Tigers, from half-back, and then they got it in the hands of the dangerous Deledio. It wasn't a great kick. He shanked it a little bit. Picken played that part of it all right, but you only need to give great players half a step and half a chance, and they can burn you, and that's exactly what Cochin did there. You see the reaction from Picken, and then he just got a little bit of a tap there from Jack just to go on with. But this bloke is a superstar of the game now.
Yep. So they've isolated Picken up forward initially there with Cochin. He's off the ground taking a break now, but Picken cast in the role of a defender. And the good thing about Cochin too, when he does something good, and he does plenty of things good, he just moves on. He doesn't get involved. He takes off. Celebrations to a minimum. Now he's on the phone.
He's such a sensible young man, he is. I mean, he's destined to be their next skipper.
Yeah. Hacked out of midair by Deledio inside the forward 50. Bounces towards goal. Johannesson gets back from Cape Town via Perth. Now in the big time. Talia gives it across to Murphy, close to the boundary line. Dixon. A lot being asked of Dixon, playing virtually in a key position at various times for the Dogs.
This is where they're going to go quickly.
This is Smith. Kicks down towards centre half forward. Well, didn't see the mullet. Just got in the road there. Marriage comes out to Nahas, and Nahas settles on the wing. Just lobs it into the path of Hooley. And Hooley down towards half forward has got it now. The left foot will help him centre the ball. Well, he does that anyway. Anyone could have done that, left or right. He gives it to Tuck, gets it back now. This will be a dangerous kick. He sends it in from the side. The leap, McGuan falls in front. Chance for Grant, taken by White, slips a hand pass to Conker. Conker creates space, gives it to Deledio, snaps and misses.
You got a feel too, don't you, for Murphy, Bobby Murphy? He's playing in the side that's really getting smashed almost week in, week out, and he still gets tagged as a halfback flanker. And White looks like he's got the job this afternoon. As you see, you could see Dustin Martin just readying himself to come back on into the game.
So Jackson again, front spot.
Oh, hey, Daniel Jackson.
And we'll get the free kick. I mean, just going back to Martin, when you think of the youngsters that are coming through, Martin and Cochin, Etel, it's an exciting time. As we just see, in the end, he's probably slightly lucky, but Cochin, and you think of everything that's happened this week with Dane Swan and Tom Liberatore and others, it's something that Trent Cochin, you can rest assured, you will never entertain.
He will never be a front page headline in the Herald Sun.
So Rance to Martin, and then the long ball. Revolt just caught out the back for the moment, lurks ominously, spills to Boyd, little one to Murphy. Thinks about it a while, and then the short ball to Hooper, bump ball. Here's Jakey King over the top. He can go to Jackson, buys himself some time. Quick one inside. Revolt again, the target. Wallace for the Dogs. Might just get him out of trouble, only momentarily. Smith dropped it. Nahas shoots, but Campbell does well. Nice take in the end, very clean.
It was low down. Comes out, but Hooley has the ball at the 50.
He can kick this.
Well, he's looking for alternatives. Runs towards the numbers, trying to work it back left to right. It won't come back far enough, off hands and across the line. Well, it's a pretty nothing kick in the end. Too close to the goal line, obviously, but sometimes you think you can kick it, Tim.
Yeah, no, I don't reckon he actually gave himself a real chance to kick that. I think he was in two minds about whether or not he should have a crack at the goals. In the end, he just didn't put as much power into it as what he can.
Murphy goes looking for Talia. Knocked away by Martin. It's out of bounds right on the 50.
I'd make a correction about what I said before about Cochin not being a front page headline. He may win the Brownlow this year, which would make him a front page headline in the Herald Sun.
Yeah, covering all the bases. Ball comes across towards Tuck. Kicks it down towards full forward and Jack takes the mark. Directly in front, 20 metres out.
Right down the middle.
It's being played in one half at the present time, isn't it?
They just can't clear the ball enough, the Bulldogs, and that's been one of their real problems. Is they haven't been able to get that overlap, easy play happening, and consequently they've coughed the ball up even in this early part of the game this afternoon far too many times with skill errors.
So Revolt a little off the pace in the Coleman, but the Pav only a couple yesterday. Revolt puts it through. Got the fast start. He's booted too. Well, they banked up across half forward. Their half forward line did the Tigers, and the Bulldogs simply couldn't get the ball out. Simple as that. And Jack Revolt is looking dangerous. I mean, sometimes he sticks those marks, and so far everyone he's flown for, really, he's been able to take. So tough afternoon for Roughhead, who played well last week in defence against North Melbourne, but a different sort of opponent. Was on a big guy.
Lingy, Roughhead's not a recognised full back. Already Jack Revolt's kicked two. How many do you allow him to kick before you make the switch and maybe bring Brian Lake from the other end of the field?
Yeah, Timmy, that's a great question. You'd love to show some faith in Roughhead and leave him there for a good solid half a game and let him play, but you know, if it ends up being 3 or 4 goals to Revolt, you've got to make the move. I think 2 more and you get Lake down there to shore things up in defence.
Well, Jong to half forward, Morris.
Moves okay, Jong, though, doesn't he?
Well, we heard pre-game his pace is his real asset. Cochin, a wonderful mover as well, just sweeps the handball over the top. Now to White, looks inboard, short ball. It's okay to Deledio. Morris, he's continued to run. Runs away from Jong, now into half-forward territory. Who's the dangerous option? McGuan couldn't take it, spills out the back. Martin just crashes through, knocks it back inside. Hooper there, the tackle from Cochin. Well, Johannesson just tries to paddle it forward. Revolt is there. McGuan Can he finish? Yes, he can. He's got 2. Well, it's only early in the bout, but right now the Dogs are gasping for breath, and Richmond look like making a big statement this afternoon.
And already, you got Brendan McCartney sitting up there in the coach's box, and he's looking at all his week's work just unfold before his very eyes, and he's thinking, OK, now we're on the back foot. I mean, we're halfway into this first quarter of football. Things that I thought that we could possibly do this afternoon, now we're actually got to start just seeing whether we can hold back the flow.
What about this? I've just got a great stat from Josh. He's a man who creates. Well, he doesn't create them. They exist, and he finds them. This is the biggest first quarter for the Tigers against the Bulldogs since 1980. How about that, Tim? That 1980. At Acme then. The ball goes down towards half forward. Loose ball inside the 50. Skinner slides it across. Well played. Jan Siracusa too high on Hooley. No free kick. But they get a later free kick, and it's going to Hooley.
They're on the Tigers, though, aren't they? They're not playing like a side that can't participate in the finals. And, Hardwick's talked about that. He wants the players to play the season out as hard as they possibly can. And on early evidence, that's exactly what they're doing here.
And a really good sign, that, Timmy. You need, as part of your learning and your develop, learn to go in for the kill against a weaker team. Get the job done early, smash them early on, and make it an easy game for yourself.
Jan Siracusa jabs it towards the middle. Lake comes up and takes the mark. 1982. You didn't get that excited about that, but I did. I think that's remarkable. 5 goals. I mean, that's not earth-shattering.
No, and their recent record too. The Bulldogs' recent record against Richmond has been very good. I think they've won 8 of their last 9 games against the Tigers, the Bulldogs.
But 1982.
I'm not giving you enough about the 1980.
Where were you in 1980, Dan?
I don't remember.
He would have been an ACDC concert.
Ask me some date in the 60s. Don't ask me yesterday. Here comes Lake. Kick is on the way from 45, and that's an absolute beaut. Oh, hit the post. Just working right to left all the way. It looked good, but just clipping the post inside for another behind. So bad luck. That was a nice move forward. And the margin is 6 goals. Well, I said 5. 6 they've got.
So Griffiths with that long right boot again sends the ball in the wing direction. Cochin, he's had a heap of it in this first term. Sherman, one of the Dogs in, just applies a bit of pressure, ends up with Jared Grant. Quickly off to Sherman, back to Grant, now to Hooper. Can they get an opening goal through Hooper, who's one of the late ins? They can. The Dogs are on the board in terms of majors.
Well done.
So a small victory at least for the Dogs from a small man.
That's right, and Grant's work in close then was really good too, and that would be a really promising thing for the Bulldogs to see him start to develop as a player somewhere on the ground, because they just haven't been able to find a position for Grant. He's actually started on half-back again this week, but to push up the ground then and be involved in a couple of passages of play, and then to use the ball so intelligently, then to put Hooper into space, that's all positive for the Bulldogs.
Okay, there's the live ladder. Forlorn hope for the Tigers, you would think, but already this afternoon they've added 1.8%, Tim.
Yep, and that's what they'll be doing this afternoon. They'll be going for the kill as quickly and for as long as they possibly can.
3 of their best players combining there. Delidio kicks inside the forward 50. It seems that Lake has gone back after hitting the post. Don't think he's gone back for that reason. It's just that Jack is looking decidedly dangerous. Peckin just jabs the ball towards Jan Siracusa, who takes it low down.
Dennis, it appears as though Lake's gone back, but he hasn't gone back to play on Rewald. I think he's just back as a spare. Roughhead's still down there doing the job on Jack.
Okay, to contain percentage. Tossed in, runs free at the back. Boyd onto the loose ball, smothered brilliantly by Cochin. He'll run on and be involved here, or will he? Hargrave knocks it forward. Cochin is still running. Wonderful lesson for anybody. Cochin is still out there if he wants him. No, Martin decides to run it up inside the 50. Little dinky kick. McGuan set a task. Arriving quickly and doing well, Murphy. Murphy's getting a free kick as well. So not only did he win the contest, but he was disadvantaged. So he's got the ball in the back pocket.
Well, White's sole focus this afternoon is to stop the ball getting in the hands of Rob or Bob Murphy. And on that occasion, it was just an illegal tactic that he applied.
Well, Wallace was a target. Hooley, good closing speed, but Wallace ended up with it. Little one to Jakira, now to Pickin.
Advantage.
Well, late call for advantage, and now it's just a one-on-one. Jones Siracusa, he does well against Morris.
He is just a great body player, Gene Siracusa, for a guy of his size. And that's where forwards do all their great work, and that is a long time before the ball arrives. You see that solid bump there from Tuck on Picken. And this is a good kick to a one-on-one contest. There it is, early hit, knocks Morris off balance, and then just enables himself to take the simplest of marks.
So Jones Siracusa, leading goal scorer for the Dogs this year with just 22. Fair to say no dog has exactly feasted inside 50 this year, but the Dogs would love one here late in this term, and they get another. That's 2 in a row to the Dogs.
And if you think about the one Lake missed as well, like in the last 5 or 6 minutes of play, the Bulldogs have been really good, and it's been positive for them. But Gene Siracusa, just that one-on-one battle there with Morris, and he beat him hands down just with that early bump, that body movement. It was just the perfect thing to be doing in that situation. Hit early, Dennis.
High fives. Daniel's got 23 goals for the season. No player has won the goal kicking for the Dogs with under 30 since 1989, when Adrian Campbell did 21 goals. Mick Malthouse in his last season when that happened.
Did you get that little torch with your last pair of Barter Scouts, did you?
It's a bit dark in here. Kick goes inside the forward 50. Off hands, Jack reduced to a spoiler there. Addison, Talia, assisted by Hargrave. They've made this harder than it needed to be. Addison. And eventually they'll work it away. Johannesson was the man who got the initial hand pass. It finishes with Talia. High ball towards the wing. Campbell reaching over the top, hands to it, couldn't complete the mark. It spills out of bounds. We'll have a throw in. Just over 4 minutes remaining in the opening term, and the Tigers lead it by 24.
Remembered where you were in 1980?
I'm working on it. That's why the torch came out. I've got a diary.
Hard one to win.
I've seen everything in the commentary box.
You might want to explain that one, Tim.
Well, Dennis has got a little torch. I'm not quite sure if it's... Anyway.
I'd rather you didn't leave it at that.
So Marich to Grigg quickly. Now Nahas has just got the one-on-one with the youngster in Johannesson. Nahas loses his feet, does well, gets up, just paddles it to his advantage. Well, Johannesson was equally as good. He got back up, tackled, pick and wins the ball. Now to Boyd, to Lake, who's gone back in his normal territory, and he sends the ball, but Ranch will be there for the Tigers. And quickly he plays on to Jackson. Short to Conker if he wants, goes in that direction now. Conker's got a bit of space, quickly plays on. Here's Revolt. Revolt was the target. Lake just had it kicked right to his logo.
He was the accidental defender then, Brian Lake. He was in no man's land. It had to be a poor kick for him to be involved in the next passage of play, and that's exactly what happened.
Murphy to Smith. Man on the mark, just giving him his left side. Sort of wanting him to go boundary side, I think, and he takes it. That was well marked by Tuck. He was thinking while he was on the mark there, just hurting the kicker. This is Grant. There's the call of play on. Grant goes long down towards half forward. Nobody behind this foursome. They have to turn around and track it back. Arriving quickly, though, Morris close to the boundary line, just pushes it across, and we'll have a throw in. His dad was a good player. One of best and fairest, played in the premiership side. That was Kevin.
His mum was a fair athlete too, Dennis. Played basketball for Australia.
Well, he's got the genes then, hasn't he? Steve, recruited from West Adelaide. High on Dixon, surely. Well, from the back, says the umpire. Doesn't matter, he's got the free kick. And this guy has been a real revelation. In a good side, he would be a very dangerous player, I reckon. They're asking a lot of him. He's playing at centre-half forward as often as not.
Well, he kicked 100 goals for Noble Park in their premiership year a couple of years ago, so he's got a sense around goals, and he's going to be required, you would think, in the medium term. Well, that's no good from Jared Grant, and suddenly the Tigers,
that's just sloppy.
Have got some options in the middle. They've got men all around the place. Delidio just gets and goes. Bouncing ball, White, it'll settle for him. Martin wants it short, Revolt wants it long. Revolt screams the loudest. Now he's a one-on-one, he gets front spot. Well, third man came in, and that was Addison. Talia did well. Little handball now to Addison, and the Dogs, they've got the numbers. They can just work it around. Murphy runs into trouble, buys himself some time, goes back over the top to Hargrave. So the Dogs have got a young side in, and the Tigers are pressing the issue this afternoon. King can't control it and goes over. But
it's really changed Richmond's mindset, though, now, because when they do go forward, they've got that extra number back there in Brian Lake. So they're going to have to be really smart with their usage of the ball around the middle of the ground now, Richmond.
A chance here. Can Marich find a target? Knocks it down. It was a bit quick in the end for King. Minson just quickly heads towards the boundary. And a safe option for now on Friday night. That would have been perhaps something else. But for now, it's a throw in at the MCG. And we're just ticking on towards quarter time.
So the Dogs still thirsting after that second premiership. Their first back in 1954. As they clear the zone, the high ball towards the wing, and the mark is taken there by Newman, who looks across the ground. That's a beautiful telling kick. Now Greg can take it and go. Runs to 50, lines up, kick is on the way. I think it's offline, it is, and goes through for a minor score. So when the Dogs won their last premiership, Tim, Bob Dylan was 13. Bob Dylan was 13.
Is that 54?
Yeah.
Bob Dylan was 13.
Just a whippersnapper. He loved the Dogs too. Remember that line from the song? What was it? One Too Many Mornings. Down the street, the dogs are barking. That's a fan. Ball goes towards the outer side. In front out there, Jan Siracusa, and the ball spills out of bounds.
Are you sure that he was Bob Dylan back there, or was he Rob Zimmerman?
Robert Zimmerman, I guess.
Okay. This is weird. The 1954, 58 years ago.
That might make him related to the Bulldog doctor, actually. Gary Zimmerman.
I told you there was a link.
Taken to ground, McGuan, that'll go nowhere. So the Dogs' last premiership 58 years ago. In dog years, that was 406 years, I'm told.
There's Gary with the moustache there, Hamish.
Yeah, it's one of the world's best, not just the AFL's best, isn't it?
That's good.
We're speaking of 1980 earlier, Den. Were you calling the Tigers to a premiership back then? I'm trying to help remember where you were.
I was a young man then, I tell you.
Okay, Griffiths on the outer side. He's got Jan Siracusa to beat. Jan Siracusa does with a little paddle, but Morris there for the Tigers. He just streams through. Handball is on. Little one to Tuck, and now to Grigg, who's been so good since he came over from the Blues. At this time, it's cut off again, and this time it's Lake, who's just rolling around loose in the back six for the Dogs. Talia, game two to Hargrave. Short ball. Well, dangerous ball in the end. Ricochets back to Hargrave, now to Johannisen. And that is all she wrote in the first term.
Well, credit the Dogs with a fight back there. Richmond got the first six, and the Dogs came back with a couple. Still, it's going to be a long haul for the Western Bulldogs this afternoon. Repeating, Ryan Griffin came out after a back spasm while they were warming up. Nothing is going right for this man and his group now, but they're sticking at it. Tigers lead at quarter time on Sunday football at 6-4 to 2-3. 40 plays 15. That man in the foreground has booted 2 goals. The first of them came after half a minute.
Having said that, Lake's gone to full forward again now.
They always let you down, don't they? There's the bounce. Marich knocks it wide. Martin could have been taken high. He'll get the free kick. Martin, lunging hand pass. Delidio goes inside the forward 50. Ill-directed. Talia got his fingertips to it. And now an open goal beckons for Riebolt. Got the hand pass from Cochin, kicks it. Well, that's quicker than the first. That's a PB. Officially 22 seconds. So it beat the previous mark. Bruce should be doing this. It beat the previous mark by 17 seconds. Slashed it.
Technically.
What about Cochin?
His handball work is just extraordinary, isn't it?
Yep.
And therein lies the difference. I mean, the Bulldogs, the 2 Bulldog defenders, the first guy, I think it might have been Roughhead, that actually had his hand on the ball, wasn't able to secure it. And then that bumbling ball in the forward line with even numbers, and then you're under all sorts of pressure.
From 37 seconds to 22, you've got to ask, is there anything wrong with Jack Riebolt? You shouldn't be able to take off such a big margin in your PB so quickly, should you?
Just ask the American doctors. They'll come up with a solution.
Martin, Wallace, couple of youngsters. Wallace wins this battle. Luanda Picken, Delidio, the tackle was good. Minson has to wait. Jackson just charged through. Underneath it all is Hooley. And that's how it'll stay for the moment. Hooley's been a good pickup, hasn't he, since he came over from the Bombers. 26 over 4 years with the Bombers. And, well, he hasn't missed a game wearing the yellow and black. He's with Jakira for the moment, the former Cat, who didn't have a lot of success there, trying to break into that outstanding side. Grigg to Conker. Now Conker, he decides to go long. I don't think he kicked it where he meant to in the end. And
Oh, Matthew White.
White will get the ball.
Oh.
Well, that was pretty stiff in that Murphy had stopped, looked around. White continued on, now just fires it long and out of bounds on the full.
That's probably one of the poorest parts of his game, White. He can burn the ball like he did then. That ball should have gone to the top of the square. There's Cochin who's playing at full forward. He started at that centre bounce at full forward. Addison picking him up.
Addison.
Would be nervous for Addison.
Yeah. Addison was on the forward line last week, their most dangerous forward against North, but a 2-3. But now, deep in defence, that ball going out of bounds on the full from Addison. So Revolt will send it back in. He's too far out to score. Plenty of space in front of Cochin, and what a great mark that was. The ball was coming low and hard. That was difficult enough, but there was a man he would have seen out of the corner of his eye cutting across his path. He was on a collision course.
Yep.
But his speed is such he got there just in front, and maybe with a bit of help from a mate.
Good block.
Someone picked him off.
They did.
Just as well then. Here's Cochin. I'd back him to kick it.
That's dangerous though, isn't it, Dennis, having Cochin, Martin and also Deledio for Damien Hardwick, all capable of playing that one out in the forward line, particularly out of the goal square like they do.
Murphy, the short one. Roughhead hangs on. May have noticed Cochin hit the post. There's Roughhead.
So Roughhead just spending more time in the back six than he's used to in his career and done a pretty reasonable job. Skinner just knocks it. Rance, his advantage bite to the skipper and now to Martin. Well, beautiful kick in the end to Conker. And now to Edwards. Hooley will swing onto the left boot. He gets compromised though, so he just jags the ball short. That was terrific to King.
That was a beautiful use of the ball, wasn't it? He was going to kick long there in Hooley and he just pulled his kick at the last minute. This bloke's been busy this afternoon, Jakey King.
So King now, well, has it got the journey? Just offline. Hargrave was there.
Luke, keep coming out, Luke.
So King, he's been quietish this year, given what he did last year. 25 goals last year, just 5 so far. He's been around in just 10 games, 11th today.
Addison gets it from Grant. Goes around the boundary, and the mark is taken by Jong. Looks quite at home out there, just jabs it along the boundary. Well, that fixed him. Mark is taken by Morris on his chest, virtually the forward in that situation. Appeared as though he was the one leading for the footy. Comes to Grigg. Grigg in short, finds Martin. They bring it across the ground. Now Ellis will run at them. He does, loops a hand pass to Newman. Newman goes inside the forward 50. A misunderstanding between he and Conker. The mark was taken by Murphy. Under pressure, Smith just gets the kick away. Broken up by Rance, then he fell over, tries to get to his feet, took a long time, and is penalised for holding the footy. And that's the right call. Picken gets it. So, two sons of guns face to face.
Now Dixon's the target. He's got Newman to beat. Lost his feet at a critical time. Newman didn't, and then finds Ellis, who goes short, and Jackson's the man who has to find another Richmond jumper now. If you've just joined us, a few late changes. Lin Jong, who is always named to play, is joined by another debutant this afternoon, and that is Fletcher Roberts, who wears the sub-vest. Lin Jong from the Taiwanese mother, East Timorese father. Great story for the AFL this afternoon. The Dogs, though, have got a few issues at the moment. They trail by 33. They go forward here. This time, Jan Siracusa over the top to Wallace. Can he score the third for the Dogs? Yes, he can.
They've been impressive, the Dogs. They put their heads down collectively and they're working hard. Needed an old head there, Jan Siracusa, with that sweeping hand pass, and Wallace onto the loose ball at centre half forward. He's a quality young player, and he put it through. Of course, no Tom Liberatore this afternoon, and I'm not sure whether he's allowed to associate with his teammates on game day. I couldn't see him there in that picture of some of the players who aren't playing this afternoon, some of the youngsters.
They haven't always used the ball well in the early parts of this game, the Bulldogs, but that was just a wonderful kick then from Roughhead. That actually set the whole game up, and the goal to Wallace intelligent play.
So we're back in the middle. Marich goes up, taps it down. Martin's over the football, went through his legs. Grigg, hurried kick towards the outer side wing, bounces towards Murphy. Coming across on the angle, Murphy does well. Stayed on his feet, Conker went to ground. Murphy swings it back to midfield. Another one of their stars, Boyd, takes the mark. Alongside this centre circles the skipper. Nicely weighted kick. The veterans sharing the ball amongst themselves. Gian Siracusa, though, got a fickle bounce. Taken by Morris. Comes to the wing. Post has got it now. Waiting for some movement up ahead, or will he go back to the middle? Nothing in the middle. It's clogged up. So he goes down the line. Why not go to your best player? Cochin. Well, Hargrave did him that time, aided by the bounce. Stood up, did Hargrave. Sherman, haven't called his name too often, but he wishes we didn't there. The mark was taken by Marich. Hand passes to Edwards. Edwards goes looking for a leading player down there. McGuan fell over. Time to get up. Redeems the situation. Snaps but misses almost everything behind.
I just wonder, you know, in the instruction to the players, I think McCartney will be wanting his players to play positive brand of football, and they are trying to get the ball into the corridor as much as they can, but sometimes it's just not the kick to be pulling the trigger on.
Murphy, the man responsible for finding a Dogs jumper, and he does this time. Johannesson debuted last week to a man who debuts today in Ling Jong. A multicultural game this afternoon, and that passage of play sums up the way the game is going. It's going everywhere. Hooper, little one wide. Now that kick isn't ideal from Talia. It's an ugly sort of a thing that ends up with Dixon. On the end of it he goes. He's got an option over the top. The kick is on. Clay Smith gets on the end of it. And maybe another for the Dogs. A goal apiece so far to the Tigers and the Dogs. The Dogs would love to make it 2 in a row. Early going, second term.
There's a welcome to AFL football there from Jake King. And this was a really intelligent ball use here too. Just to open up the goal face here for Clay Smith. He's been a really good young kid coming into the AFL for the Bulldogs. One of the real positives for them this season.
One of these 4 teenagers for the Dogs this afternoon. Smith fires, looks okay. They've got another back-to-back goals for the Dogs.
It was well worked. It was a poor kick from Hooper that bounced around the boundary line. It did stay in. That guy Dixon again, he works in confined spaces very well and generally does something clever with the football. He did that time. And the beneficiary was Clay Smith, who Brendan McCartney likes very much. Interesting talking with Brendan before the game. He was talking about the young players, some that have disappointed him and others that have been a pleasant surprise.
Well, here's the mark from Clay Smith. Kicked 4 goals in the first home and away game this year against the the West Coast Eagles, and still wasn't enough to get the Rising Star nomination for that first week.
Minson thumped it forward, driven forward by Sherman, and a fine mark is taken by Jakira. Gutsy mark plays on, gives it to Dixon. He deserves a goal, and he's got it. How about this for a fight back? The Dogs. Not easy for a group of youngsters. Often self-doubt creeps in with the youngsters, but despite a slow start, they're showing plenty. They're coming back.
It was a great one-on-one mark then too, wasn't it? That's exactly what you want from your mid-sized small forwards, their ability to be able to mark one-on-one.
Tory Dixon sounds like a player.
Good name, isn't it?
Tory.
Strong.
Yeah. It is. Gritty.
It's a really good mark there from Jakira. I mean, one-on-one there with Ellis. We know that he's a young, inexperienced player, but this bloke just has that goal sense. Any time around the goals, he just looks like he knows exactly where they are and what he's doing.
Cochin. No, Cochin. Cochin's ball, Richmond.
Well, just a bit of a swing in this match. 5 of the last 6 goals to the Dogs. Cochin brings it wide. Chance for post if it settles for him. It does. Now to Hooley. Go back to post if he doesn't like it inside. Does that now. Revolt is deep. King is short. Revolt's the target. Can he get the sit? He's deep for the moment. Over the top he comes in the end. There are a heap of blue jumpers, and to the boundary line it goes.
Boys, Reece Conker just doing a bit of work on the boundary line. He's just sat down now. He's got a sore right ankle. He went down in the rooms for a little bit to get checked out. I'll keep an eye on him for you, but at the moment it appears like he's moving all right.
So 37 points has become 16 the Tigers lead for the moment. And Tuck, can he finish here at the punt road end? It starts in the middle and then just drifts late. Tuck just, he's been in and out of fashion, hasn't he, Tim, for a long time at punt road, but right now he's in vogue.
Yeah, no, he's back in vogue now, and he's one of their key midfield players now. I mean, provides some of that grunt inside. Brian Lake's gone back again to defence. I just wonder whether or not this was organised at a certain stage, almost the same time in the first quarter that he went back down there and became that spare defender for the Bulldogs. Let's just keep an eye on him, whether he stays in that part of the ground.
Wallace goes to Minson. Minson did well. That was a good grab. That's ambitious, though. Eventually, they'll work it out close to the boundary. The mark is taken by Smith. John Hennison in two minds initially, but things worked okay.
Runner now going to Brian Lake, so he's not in a hurry to get to the other end of the ground.
From behind, Addison backed himself to take the mark. Butters up again. Needs to be careful here. He'll go. He's not trying to get it out.
No attempt to get clear. No genuine attempt. Stay out.
Edwards with the free kick. Just pushes it across to Martin. Finds himself in space. McGuan goes back. Ellis across. This is Morris. He's at left half back. Running hard is Hooley. On as Hooley's lead, just pops it in front of him. So Hooley has got this football at left half back. Just over 11 minutes till half time. Down the line, and McGuan, who was involved moments ago at centre half back, has taken the mark.
Short ball, Skipper's the option. He couldn't take it cleanly. The pressure was good from Talia. He goes back and wins the football. The one over the top, Jakira. Hooley just sort of fumbles and deliberately, non-deliberately takes the ball over. So Talia's brother, there's Brian Lake, who we've
He's rushing forward again now. Spoken about the stoppage.
It appears as though he's just got a bit of a license to do whatever he wants. Push forward, push back, get back and provide a bit of help, or try and get forward and be a target.
Well, Skinner now just sends the ball back inside.
Oh.
Ellis intercepts, does it pretty well, gets tackled by Jakira. Picken picks it up. Now to Dixon. Can he find an option? Over the top to Wallace. Not perfect, but Wallace takes it in the end. Off to Jong. Jong to Dixon. There's a few to beat. So onto the left boot he goes. Front spot, Hargrave. Well, he got hands onto it, couldn't take it cleanly. Edwards, Martin just tries to break the Smith tackle. Got put under pressure in the back, and the skipper in the end will relieve for the Tigers.
This is where they need to be really concentrating hard now, the Bulldogs, because they've broken the Tigers from here. That's good. Just got the one kick up the line, but generally they've been able to cover the outlet players here.
Tuck took the mark. Back to Newman. Comes to the wing. McGuan out against the line, picking up a few possessions in the last few minutes. McGuan just pops it to Deledio. Haven't called his name too often this afternoon, Brett Deledio. Just his 7th possession coming up. In fact, it's his 10th, sorry. Hand passes forward. Cochin, wonderful move. A fake of the head there. Did the man in. Nahas on the lead. Man on the mark is about 45 metres from goal. Nahas to a longer kicking player in Martin, but Martin puts himself on the wrong pin, but then goes short and finds King. Well worked in the end, but Martin, a natural right footer, wanted to evade a player who was coming across his bow, and as a result found himself on the left foot. Knew he couldn't get the distance. That's a wonderful feign there by Cochin in the build-up, and that's a wonderful finish. So King, with the Bulldogs making a bit of a run at Richmond. They've been valiant so far, the Dogs. As we said, a young side so often can have their confidence shaken by a slow start. The opposite's been true for them, and the Tigers needed that goal. They get their 8th. 8-8-5-3.
That was really created by the movement. First Cochin, I mean, that was a great move that he put on. But then once the ball got in the hands of Martin, he actually moved and evaded one of the players, and then just was able to spot out of the corner of his eye a free Jakey King. They had the numbers back there, the Bulldogs, but no one was prepared actually to pick up the smallest bloke on the forward line. Study of concentration.
Wearing the one long sleeve this afternoon. In the cool afternoon, Jakey King.
Good tap there.
Wallace, Campbell, just the hurried kick doesn't go too far. Addison just pulled off the football. Campbell is there. In the end, it's going to stay underneath a pack of players. We saw Cochin be a key part of that setup for goal, and he's just the sort of player that every coach wants on their list, isn't he?
Well, that's right. There's nothing that he doesn't do, Hamish. I mean, he's a great leader, but out on the field, I mean, he plays with such vigour as well.
So Jong quickly to half forward. Lake is there. Post. He did well. Play on the call. Got tackled by Lake. Here's a chance. Skinner, Jakira. Well, they do well. They hold it up for the moment, the Dogs.
That's exactly what you want. You want a hard out. You don't want the ball just pinging out of your forward line. You see Martin and also Cochin now just taking a breather on the interchange. They get a chance to set themselves up here, the Dogs.
Well, in the end, Grigg just out of the air to Hooley over the top. Here's a chance for the Dogs. Little one from Hooper. Jan Siracusa brings it back to Sherman. They're losing ground, but they're holding on to the ball. Talia now inside 50. Bouncing ball. Howlett settle. Lake post. Bit of help from Conker. And that's okay for the Tiggies.
Deliberate.
Would have been 72 hours ago, wouldn't it?
Oh, most definitely. I mean, he had one thing on his mind then. That was to clear the ball as close as he could to the boundary line.
So Ivan Maric, little knockdown. Here's Clay Smith. Deledio puts the pressure on, takes him to ground. The Doggies had love one here. They've got 3 of the last 4, brought it back to within 16, and then the goal from Jake King put it back to 23 points. So when we thought it was about to get ugly, the Dogs have somehow got themselves back into the match. Conker, Campbell, little one over the top, Pickin. Well, here's a chance for the Dogs. We saw this game, Tim, getting out of control and getting ugly.
Yep, early.
A goal here, and suddenly the Dogs would be thinking at half-time, if they can get another one, this isn't all bad.
Yep. And, I mean, one of the things they've actually been able to stay in games for a half, Hamish. I mean, that's their real challenge this afternoon.
Yeah, last week, a good example of that against North Melbourne. That's not going to help their cause this afternoon. It's the minor score.
56 plays 34. 7.5 minutes out from half-time. Newman to himself. Did it well. Ran the distance he needed to get over the man in front by. And gave it to Cochin. Martin, I guess Cochin again as he comes into view. Slips a hand pass over the top. Tuck back inside. Still playing on a 1-year contract. Gives it to Martin. There are still doubters, obviously. Revolts in front. Well done, Roughhead. Got a fist on it. Dixon again. Quick hands, Dixon. Well done. Gave it to Hooper. Jakira. Ambitious. Got through. Well done, young man. Oh, went too far. Where's the umpire's sense of occasion? Kid beat 3 of them. Humping. Grigg's got the ball. Drives it back inside the forward 50. Revolt out positioned. Roughhead did well. Eyes only for the football.
I'm absolutely loving this from Roughhead. He conceded a couple of early goals to Revolt, but they've stuck with him. He's starting to back himself and take some marks and spoil well. Great lesson for him today.
Out of the back pocket then. Stretching. Tuck did well. Releases Conker. Conker fires it back inside. Needs a contest down there from McGuan. He gave it. Got the ball on the ground. Taken by Nahas. Put down by Skinner. Could have been taken high. Or is it holding the ball? Holding the ball. Dogs win the footy back. Advantage not paid. A cacophony of whistles, and the ball is coming back.
Here's that decision again. How many steps did he take here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
Oh, it was good. It was okay.
I would have thought that was
boring
okay.
television, actually, that, Tim, but it was okay. Under 15.
That umpire must live in a city where land's a premium.
Hargrave now, a defender for a long time for the Dogs. Heard Cameron Ling liking the work of Roughhead, who played at centre-half back for the first time in his career against the Saints a few weeks ago. And now the ball's brought towards Pickin. Couldn't take it cleanly. Edwards did enough in the end.
I reckon Brendan McCartney would be pretty excited about this first half. He's seen a few false dawns in the first halves this year, but I mean, these young kids are really having a crack.
They're playing hard. That's exactly what the message would have been this afternoon. He just wants them to be competitive and play hard.
Jakira couldn't take it cleanly. Wallace went and got it, missed his target, ricochets. Campbell couldn't take it, but Hooley could. Quickly inside 50, bouncing ball. Johannesson, well, he and John, can they combine? They do. Little one over the top now for Talia. So 3 youngsters for the Dogs, all getting involved. White's going to chase Talia. He's got the leg speed, White. And Talia paddles it over in the end. You talk about a young side. The average games played for the Dogs is 75 only. It's a low number, particularly when you look at the AFL average. I mean, yesterday the Saints were 130 odd, and it gets up. So we've heard about it through Brendan McCartney's mouth a lot this year. It's a case of building these youngsters, and it's hard to argue when you have a look at all the debutants out there today. Martin to Grigg, can he finish? Grigg ambles in, kicks another for the Tigers.
When you're dealing with young players, you're talking about skill errors that sometimes you have to live with, and game plan understanding, and also their inconsistencies from quarter to quarter and their concentration in a game. And really, you could almost put that down to concentration. All the boys ball watching, nobody gets back to fill the hole, nobody gets back to fill those spaces. And there were 2-3 Richmond players just streaming into an open forward line. And that bloke there, if you give him plenty of time and space, he'll chop you up. He's had an excellent season, Greg. Here's that first handball there from Jack, out to Martin, over to Grigg, and just far too much time there to steady and finish.
I suppose the biggest problem for the Dogs is none of their young players seem to have star quality. I mean, it's an easy thing to say, but guys like Cochin arrive on the scene, Martin too, I guess, and you see it immediately. So they may still have to draft their way out of trouble. This group could give them depth. Not sure whether it can bring them success. As the ball goes inside the forward 50, Dixon onto the chest of Jan Siracusa.
It's an interesting question. They've got 2 top 10 draft picks at the end of the year. What would you be searching for, Tim?
Well, you take the most talented player that's available to you when you go to pick, because there is not an area on the ground that they don't actually need some superstars.
That's right. Yeah, I think
they've been a bit unlucky though too with their midfield, haven't they?
Oh, and
go with Cooney and then also Callan Ward to move on when they wouldn't have anticipated that.
And Callan Ward's had a terrific season for GWS. Almost an all-Australian season. There's Jan Siracusa. That's a lovely kick, bending it back, and gets the goal. Dogs have 6.
And Ward was all those things that you were talking about with Cochin before. He doesn't have the class of Cochin, but he worked in all those areas that you'd want a young player to work in, and he became a leader up there immediately as well. So you sort of spend that time developing a player. You just don't want them to leave a club as early as he did.
No. But you can understand why he went.
So Jan Siracusa has a couple, and the young Dogs with a few old Dogs littered through the litter get it back to within 22 points. I mean, you think about the injury list of this Dogs outfit alone, with Griffin, Dalhouse, Cooney, Cross, Higgins, Markovic, Morris, Wood. It's long and distinguished. Here's a chance for the Tigers. Can Edwards get another? Might just bounce and work out. It is another for the Tigers. 2 for Edwards, and that came from nothing.
And he's a much improved player too, Hamish, this year. I reckon he's really benefited from the fact that they've identified a position for him. Often he's played that defensive forward, but not only has he been able to do that, he's provided a lot of energy for that forward line with his tackling and his defensive pressure, but he's kicked goals this year too. I mean, that's his 20th goal for the year. He's kicked 22 behinds as well, so he's had plenty of the ball in his hands at dangerous parts of the ground this season. I mean, that is an excellent finish from almost on the 50.
You're right, he's a much better player this season. Interesting too, I mean, the Tigers have paid the price for expansion. They've come 15th, 12th and 15th, I think, in the last 3 seasons. But this group isn't underpinned by very much either, because all the draft picks went north. There's a short one, and it comes across towards Jakira. So a lot of imbalances in the system right now, and some of the teams down the bottom. Port Adelaide's another one. Melbourne had the last of the drafts. But having said that, look at them. Short one goes short to Smith. Worked it out yesterday, Tim, back in, what was it, 08. They won 3 games. They've won 3 this season. So we know they're trying this season. Apparently they weren't trying in 08. Or some people have been bold enough to say that. In 09, they were running hot. They had 4 wins.
Been slim pickings, hasn't it, for both the D's and the Tigers in recent years? I mean, the Tigers have been out of the 8 for 104 consecutive weeks.
Yeah. Is that right? Well, how did you know that? How did you know where I was going to take this conversation? Ball goes down towards the pocket. There's Revolt right on the 50. Thought about going to post. Now he hooks it back. It's a high one. Johannesson camped in front, but over the top. The mark is taken by the man we were saying has improved so much. Edwards about 25 metres out. At least Melbourne had a draft, though, as we continue that wide-reaching discussion. Richmond haven't had options on the best players. They've gone to Gold Coast and then GWS. And if you finish 15th, 12th and 15th, you would hope that you would get something for it. They didn't. So the road up ahead is still going to be difficult. Edwards, meantime, hits the post. 29 points the margin. 2 minutes to half-time. The Dogs won this quarter. They were 25 points down. No, they just lost it.
So the margin 29 now. Minson, a little one to Wallace as we tick down towards half-time. And what we thought was going to get ugly early for the Dogs is maintained pretty much status quo since quarter time. The Dogs have been okay in this second term. Talia, Griffiths, they all fight for it. It'll spill out the back. Here's a chance. Picking onto the left boot. Now Sherman set a task in the middle of the ground. Grigg just slaps it forward. Well, ugly bounce in the end for Boyd. Wallace couldn't take it cleanly. Boyd goes and wins it. Morris puts a tackle on. Lake finds his man. Little under Smith now to Picken. Well, again, that man, Cochin, saves the day for the Tigers.
There's not an area of the game that he doesn't work in, Trent Cochin.
He etched his name into the club's honour boards last year with the best and fairest. You think it won't be the last time he wins that honour. To Grigg, now to Hooley. Short ball, Revolt's a target, and Revolt's found.
That's the one Jack wanted in the first quarter. He made it impossible then for Hooley to miss him. Probably the spray he gave Hooley. This is a great lunging tackle here by Cochin. They're away then with Picken's kick. But after Hooley didn't give it to him in the first quarter, he gave a mighty spray.
And this is what you alluded to, Tim. Jack on the run, on the lead.
Yeah, that's exactly what you want to see Jack do. I mean, he can do both. I mean, he's a very good ball reader in the air and good body player, but he's more dangerous when he gets on his bike.
Almost the sole focus for the Tigers, inside 50 for the last 4 years. This time, not accurate, Jack.
Boys, Brendan McCartney down on the bench just called Jared Grant over and gave him a fair old spray. Not happy with his last contest when Shane Edwards took that mark in the pack. He expected better from Grant to come over and kill the ball, spoil it away.
Good calling. I mean, he got no body on him whatsoever.
Johannesson taking a mark and releasing these Dogs up the ground. Boyd goes to Roughhead, to Hargrave. Can they get a late goal? Clock is against them. We're down to 5 seconds. Skinner's got it. Cochin got him, and that's enough to bring the siren. So it's half-time at the MCG, and Richmond being tested by a young, energetic Western Bulldogs lineup. Tigers at 10-10-70, and the Western Bulldogs are 6-4-40. We're pitting Ryan Griffin out late today in the warm-up with a back spasm. So nothing has gone right for the Dogs, but they're hanging tough.
Let's go down to Lingy. He's got Rowan Smith from the Bulldogs. He's the development coach at Whitten Oval.
Well, Smithy, the Richmond quality midfielders were getting on top during that first half, but real credit to the young Bulldogs midfielders for staying in the game.
Yeah, that's exactly right, and that's what we want to do, Lingy. We want to teach our young kids early that they've got to be responsible for a good player. And if they can beat them one-on-one and be a little bit ruthless in the contest, start winning the contested footy and getting it our way, well, they're going to make good players. Another example of that, Roughhead on Rewald. Rewald kicked a couple of goals early, but Roughhead's really got himself back into the game. Yeah, the last couple of weeks, Roughhead's showed some really good signs that he can hold down full back or centre half back. So, you know, it's a bonus for us that we can throw him back, be confident that he's going to win his own footy and then get it going our way. And how do you see the second half coming? Oh, look, we've fallen away in second halves over the last couple of weeks. So, you know, the main, message from Macca there at half-time was just, control the footy, intensity around the footy. He's just got to be strong and get it going our way. Thanks for your time, mate. Thanks, Lee. Thanks, mate.
300-game dog with a 3-time premiership cat, Trent Cochin. Will hope to start the second half like he started the game this afternoon. He's not without a very good chance, Tim, on the first, or what is it, last Monday in September, Brownlow medal night. Every time they've won, he's been a key part of the Richmond victory.
So far, he's had 16 possessions. Martin, 16. Mitch Wallace, good news, 15. Matthew Boyd, 15 as well for the Dogs.
And probably underselling him every time they've lost. He's been brilliant as well.
Some of the key players in the second half, Jack Revolt, Brian Lake, who's played mostly forward, gone back a few times. Cochin have already spoken about. And that man on screen now, Boyd, he's had 15. He is part of the Bulldog engine room.
Revolt 8 goals off the lead in the Coleman. Out of the middle, it's Boyd, goes down towards half forward. Rance, well, Rance collided with a teammate, and Addison took the mark. I mentioned last week against North, he played forward, kicked a couple of goals, could have kicked more, 2-3, missed a couple of easy ones, and kicking, not the best thing he does. He is fearless. This will test him. He's right on the 50.
Be a great start, Dennis.
Wouldn't it? They've been gritty this afternoon. Kick is on the way. One component of his game that is very good is his kicking. He puts it through. 46-70. That's the start they wanted.
That took a long time, didn't it?
Yes, it did.
Compared to the first 2 quarters. Jack Revolt, 30-odd seconds. Then was it 22 is next. That took all of, what it's the official margin, 38 seconds.
Wow. See, Boyd's a wonderful player, isn't he? His ability to be able to just get disposals week in, week out. It doesn't matter how much pressure's on him. He seems to be able to still control that part of the ground for the Bulldogs. And again, he got one out of the centre. And that's great to see. I mean, that reaction means that there's some real energy about the way the Bulldogs are playing. And, you know, they've got a way to go yet, but they're not without a chance.
So Marich tuck, and that man Cochin quickly to half forward. It's going to be a bouncing ball. Bit of speed, White, Murphy in hot pursuit. Well, White does okay, just sort of puts Murphy to the wrong side, comes back in, but he couldn't take it cleanly. Sherman could, to Picken, to Jared Grant, back to Sherman. At half back, the Dogs, they've got the numbers, possession. Boyd was quick, and he was brilliant to Picken. Now through the middle, bouncing ball, ugly for Skinner. In the end, it comes to Rance, and he can relieve for the Tigers.
Hi, Bulldogs.
Oh,
Yeah.
only momentarily anyway. So Dixon a chance to send the Dogs forward. Wouldn't they love one to add to that quick goal to start this third term? They might get one through an unlikely source. Brian Lake. In range, accuracy shouldn't bother him. This would be the perfect start to the third term.
It wouldn't. That is, you look downfield and you see that matchup. There's a free kick. It was just off the ball there to Dixon. But you look up and you see that one-on-one matchup, and you've just got to make sure that you give the ball enough air for the contest. And the other Bulldog player did the right thing by making sure that his direct opponent wasn't going to be able to influence the ball in the air either. And Lake does a one-on-one job.
So he's closing in on his 200th game. He's kicked 29 goals in his career, just one this year. Dogs fans would love him to make it 2, and he doesn't let anyone down. Oh. Great connection, good finish. Dogs get the first 2 of the third term.
Well, this is terrific for them. Brian Lake, a swing man. He's gone forward, he's gone back, and he's got some license, it seems, to do whatever he wants to do. And he's been dangerous on the forward line, and could get more so as this one rolls on. So suddenly it's back to 18 points. First 2 goals of the term for the Western Bulldogs.
Well, he's gone forward really by necessity. They haven't been able to find a winning forward all year. But as Dennis said early in the game, he reads the ball so well in the air, and he's got a wonderful pair of hands. As long as he can stay close to goal, he can be a real danger.
So a challenge with the Tigers now. Marich got it down to Delidio. He kicks it towards half forward. Bouncing football. Slow motion approach there from Revolt. Roughhead got a boot in. Grigg stood his ground. Wishes he hadn't. Tackled by 3 Dogs. And we'll have a ball up on the outer side, just short of right centre wing for the Dogs. This is a great tonic for their long-suffering fans. Bounce close to the boundary line. Clean possession of Minson. Goes back to Wallace. Intended for Jong. Stolen away, though, by White. Comes to Jackson. Jackson touched off the boot. Bounces down to half-forward Grigg. Delidio still going to White. White goes borders still. Plenty of time for King. And Jake has kicked a goal. That's his second.
Well, the pressure kept coming. Blokes kept coming off their direct opponent, Dennis, but in the end they just ran out of numbers in that critical part of the ground. You see Grigg over to Delidio. There's another number there, White. He's under pressure, but then finally they found the bloke without the pressure. And that's what you've got to try and do in your forward 50. And then he just was able to put it through. And that was a really good finish then from that angle.
He's been good. You said earlier in the broadcast he's been in career best form in the last 18 months or so.
No, I reckon he's a barometer. I mean, he brings that energy and that aggression to their game, the Tigers. And I reckon when they're up and running, Jakey King is at the forefront of that.
So the Tigers had the Dogs in check earlier in the afternoon, couldn't put them into checkmate, and now we've got an interesting battle on our hands. King's goal puts the Tigers up by 24. Skinner didn't attack the football. Dixon did. Hard to win now. Ugly sort of a bouncing ball. Who's going to get there first? It was a cruel bounce for Rance in the end. Jan Syracuse picks it up. Heap of pressure applied. Morris was one of the tacklers, Rance the other. And the old dog is taken to ground.
Just stand up. Both picking the ball up. Well done.
Been a good battle between those two, Morris and Gia, this afternoon. Gia got him early just with that bit of body work. A little bit more body work being applied there by Morris off the ball too.
So Jan Syracuse, the most experienced player out on the ground.
Push out, he's going for the ruck.
Here's a chance for the Doggies to get their third in this third term.
This will be an interesting replay, this one, how that free kick was awarded, because the umpire just said then it's his free kick because he was going for the ruck. Okay, he's second man up. I'm not sure about that. They weren't the two that were directly contesting the ball then.
No, I'm with you there, Timmy. If a player's going to try and go third man up, you're entitled to stop his run a little bit, surely.
I would have thought so too, Lingy.
This is a big moment for the youngster. Can he put it through and bring the margin back to 3 goals? Skinner goes bang, and the Dogs have got another, their third for the term. That makes it interesting again. He was limited to just 1 game last year, had some injury issues. His 4th for the year and his 3rd goal in his career, and the Dogs fans would like to see more from that man. Zephaniah Skinner.
Great name, isn't it?
Good name. Anything with a Z in it, I think.
He just caressed that ball so carefully. I don't think I've ever seen anyone take a set shot for goal so carefully as what he just did. Well, here's the free kick. Marich and Minson are actually contesting it. Skinner comes in as the 3rd player up. Griffiths just a little bit of body work. I mean, the first push came from Skinner. The second push came from Griffiths. I really think the umpire got that wrong.
Back in the middle, Campbell trying to advance it. Side foots it eventually about 5 metres. Conker goes down. Now he dived on top of the football. He is in trouble.
On the ball. Straight up, quick.
They're on the break here, the Dogs too.
So Smith's got it, just lays it off through midfield, taken by Murphy. Murphy, a good user of the ball, goes without question. So now the mark has been taken by Lake. So this is turning quickly, this game. Celebrations back in the midfield. Lake's got the footy. And all is right with the world for the Bulldogs. Got a text during the week from a mate of mine who follows the Dogs. He said the mascot was contemplating his future. That was Sid, the Bulldog. I would imagine his options are limited. I can't imagine Sid getting away being a Tiger, for example. But still, I reckon he's right in this now. He would be elated. If this one goes through, Lake. I reckon the Bulldog is wagging that tail now. Through it goes. Brian Lake has booted 3.
Prime Minister enjoying what she's seeing now this afternoon. I mean, it's just been an extraordinary early part to this 3rd quarter for the Bulldogs. It's come from nowhere, really, given what we saw in the first half. I've never seen so much work put on a ball there as Brian Lake did. I mean, it went left and then it came back right. On his kicking action, he actually had the buddy swing going in the opposite direction as well.
Brian Lake kicking his 2nd for the quarter, and that ball has done a lot in the air, swung back nicely. But on the back of what Rowan Smith spoke about at half-time, the Bulldogs are winning the crucial contest in the middle of the ground, actually winning the contested ball and giving Brian Lake an opportunity. They get another one.
I think Sid is doing my books, actually. Lake has booted 2 goals for the game, not 3. I got excited.
John Syracuse, another. It'd be really nice for the Dogs, and that's what they get. 3 for Gia. And we're back to a goal at the G.
I knew somebody had 3. I read the tea leaves.
Well, I didn't expect this. I didn't see this. Julia, she's really happy at the moment, the Prime Minister. But I thought the Dogs were like Lindsay Lohan and Gonski, but they're back. And they're within 6 points at the G.
Amazing.
And the Prime Minister will be liking the economics of this too. They've gone in 5 times for 5 goals, the Bulldogs.
They've kicked 5 of the last 6 goals, and a 30-point deficit at half-time is just 6 now.
And no surprise, Richmond sent Trent Cotchin straight back into the middle of the ground, get the best players in amongst the action.
They should run him through a photocopier.
Yep. What a transformation. Immediately he responds. He sends it down towards half forward. Revolt, so a couple of their jets, and could that be 50? Revolt's booted 3. 52 for the season. Short. King within range.
That man, Dennis.
The barometer.
He just keeps bobbing up, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
Look at this. There's a great lead there. And no body contact on Murphy, so he can't blame a block on that. Come back a long way, Jakey.
And he's made a career where there didn't appear to be one. And that's a compliment. I mean, he's played a lot of league football, this young fella. So he runs inside the 50. Man on the mark is standing 35 metres out. Kick is on the way, and this one is just swinging and misses. Didn't miss by much, less than 2 metres, but it did move right to left into the breeze.
You know the psychology of this game too. The Bulldogs have been down and out for the last 8 or 9 weeks. Now they're just starting to feel that maybe they can win a game of football too.
Well, they've only won 5 for the year, 3 against sides below them, 1 against the Power, and a good win against the Kangaroos early on. Can they pull something out this afternoon against all the odds? So many youngsters, 2 debutants, so many injuries. Maybe this is the afternoon. A lot of football left in this match. A 7-point lead to the Tigers. It was 25 at quarter time. It was 37 at one point in that first term.
Still, mate. No, you.
Jackson quickly. What can King do here? Steps inside. Can he finish? He almost ran himself into trouble. Over the top tuck. Finds Marich. The banana ball was desperate in the end. It was brilliant from Picken. It spills out the back. Conker high up and under. Who's underneath it all? To ground it goes. Here's a chance. Edwards again. Offline.
What about that smother from Picken?
Desperate, wasn't it?
Oh, what a great example that is to the rest of your team. Just a fantastic bit of play to throw himself at the ball here. Marich looks like he's going to try the banana. That is just sensational play there from Pick. I mean, that's something that we've just become accustomed to seeing over the years from him.
Murphy to himself, runs to the pocket, drives it long outside the 50. Tigers represented by 2 players though, one of whom takes the mark. That's Rance, looks inside the forward 50 and punches it low to Grigg. There's a reliable kick. Sean Grigg has booted 1 this afternoon.
Hold there, Sean. Hold there. He's on the mark.
Rance is a really good player. And the same moniker that goes with Addison, Fearless, travels with Rance as well. This is Grigg.
Okay, thanks, guys. All right.
Inside the 50. Kick is on the way. They need this for their own self-confidence, and he puts it through. He's got his second. And they get some breathing room. So they're up by 14 points. That's their 12th goal. Only the second of this term. And in that time, the Western Bulldogs have bunged on 5. So the Bulldogs really, as Hames said, you didn't expect it. I mean, you admired what they'd done till half-time, but you didn't expect 5 goals in the early going in this quarter. So if we didn't, I doubt the Tigers did.
Here's the turnover that helped Richmond set that goal up. I just don't think that he saw Rance there at all. I mean, the ball was being aimed for Minson, and that was just a good kick. Cotchin back in the centre bounce again.
New club for Grigg. Second career is a good one as a Tiger. Cotchin involved with the Ledio. Now to Jackson. Can the Tigers press? They've hit a few obstacles in this third term. Jackson, the ball is good to that little man in Jakey King, and he looks over the top, ignores Martin, now further afield. Well, the kick almost cut off by Hargrave. A chance for McGuan. Gets himself into a bit of trouble, then gets himself out of trouble. Here's a chance. Edwards squares it up. Bouncing ball. Morris couldn't take it cleanly. Minson is there. Martin tries to crash through. Minson desperate. Morris holds him up. Umpire says, I will bounce.
At that last centre bounce, Richmond had Deledio, Martin and Cochin all back in the centre bounce. I mean, they're sensing where this game's at the minute.
A triple plus moved into the middle of the ground. The Tigers, they start to get a bit desperate. Van Merich, Hargrave now just hacks the ball out of defensive 50. Who's going to get there first? Jackson, Picken and Jackson. 0-all draw, boundary line win.
So, Timmy, who makes that decision? I mean, the players, do they have the ability to make those calls? Because it seems they've let the Bulldogs suddenly get a sniff. And they made it hard for themselves. All very well to respond, but did it need to get that far?
Well, I think there's a bit of both, because Martin came off the interchange bench then to go into the centre bounce. Skinner getting a free kick against Deledio. They've got a player on here.
Goes to half forward Addison, stepping in front though. Newman did well, slips a hand pass away. Deledio. So the engine room is back and in business. Although the kick not so flash. Goes behind Rance, now breaking is Edwards. He can take this and go, Edwards. Runners inside as well. Goes to Hooley. Hooley lowers the eyes. The kick too low, though. Bounces off Wallace. In goes Skinner. Back towards Wallace. Wrong-footed Grant. Taken there by Picken. In trouble is Johannesson. He went to ground. In comes John. Kicks it back to midfield. Hand pass from Addison did well. Gave it across to Hooper. Hooper gave it to Skinner. To the outer side. This is Sherman. Sherman a searching kick inside the forward 50. Jan Siracusa wanted the body. Morris wanted the ball.
Morris saw it coming too. You stepped inside and around Jan Siracusa, took the mark, and the skipper now has to find a target. Does so, posted halfback. Just a little under Grigg. So this game has changed in a big way in about 30 minutes of football. Ugly ball, Rance, John, the tackler, and his back is the decision, and the Tigers get out of trouble.
He had him dead then, too, didn't he? He had him cold. All he had to do was make sure that he just rolled with the tackle.
High on.
What a season for Damien Hardwick in the coach's box. Even when things are going well, it's not for too long. A season that would have given Damien Hardwick plenty of headaches and ulcers and sleepless nights. Martin now quickly to half forward. Well, good ball in the end of Van Merich. Who can he find inside 50? McGuan and Revolt are two options. Revolt on the bike, on the lead. In the end, well done, Boyd. Got a hand onto it. Little one over the top to Grant. Back to Boyd. And now this ball's got to be good. It looks okay. Picken gets there. Drops it at the crucial moment. Morris picks it up. Well, this would be cruel because Picken did everything right. And he just dropped it in the end.
I think it might have been Addison.
Was Addison dropped it? Was it? Addison dropped. I apologise to Picken.
The hairstyle's similar. I mean, they do look.
I saw the two as they went to ground.
Yeah, no, it was always a difficult mark to take, and intelligent ball use there too by Morris.
Well, this had hurt the Dogs. Tuck lets them off the hook. So apologies to all the Pickens that are listening, whether they're related or not. And Dylan drops what could have become more costly.
No, there wouldn't be too many of them out there. It'd be slim pickings.
Really important patch here by the Bulldogs. Some of their leaders have got to take over now. Robert Murphy, one of them, doesn't need to be coughing up that kick. If Bulldogs can hold on here, make a real game of it.
Jackson to Newman. Newman heads for home. The old 7-point play. They turn it over coming out. And Newman punishes them on the way back. That was a beautiful kick. Chris Newman, been a good player for a long time. Hasn't seen many good times as far as the Tigers are concerned, but he can kick a goal. And he showed there that given the chance, he will. And in the context of the game, that's a pretty big one, because the margin is back out now to 21. But you sense they've upped the ante, the Tigers, in the last few minutes.
Yeah, it's just another kick in here, and Lingy was talking about the Bulldog leaders standing up. Well, Richmond leaders have certainly stood up in the last 5 minutes of play.
You talk about swings. Jan Siracusa takes the mark at the other end of the ground. The game in a very different spot. Cochin again, brilliant. Nahas on the end of it. A little one over the top. Here we go for White. Can you control the football? Not quite. Loses his feet. Finds the football. Dishes it off. And Dustin Martin. 2 goals inside 30 seconds. And the game swings again.
Well, I think you've got to say, Timmy, they're condemned by their own actions a bit here, the Tigers. I mean, suddenly they're confronted, so they do this, and you think to yourself, well, what the heck happened early at the start of this term? Because The Tigers clearly were having a break, just a bit of a snooze, and now they've suddenly responded and it's on again. But it's risky. That's a risky process.
It is, and I reckon that's one of the things that Damien Hardwick will be trying to rectify in the summer months too with this Tide. I mean, their inconsistency, their passages of play where they just go to sleep and allow sides to come back into the game. And it's okay against the Western Bulldogs and get back on top, but there are other sides in the competition where you just can't so easily win the momentum back.
Well, the Tigers, 8 of the last 9 inside 50s for 3 goals. Interesting by Conker. Too high on King. So King alongside the centre circles. One-way traffic all of a sudden. It's a gold and black tsunami at the moment. The kick inside the forward 50. Almost revolt. Back onto the loose ball. He could be clever from here. Deep in the pocket. Still going. Goes across to Cochin. Cochin to Revolt. Around the corner to Grigg. Back to Revolt. Buys himself some time. Centering kick. Well, a couple of players reluctant to go for the Tigers there. Holding on to Grant Shawley. Nothing doing. Conker. He's taken to ground by Dixon. Over it was Jong. Tries to slap it out. Martin, who's had a good game. Held by one arm. Dixon. He's got a head about him, Dixon. Released that beautifully. Hooper sends it out towards the boundary. Those guys on Friday night would have blown the whistle about now.
They do.
Umpire Farmer, a West Australian, knows what went on in Perth on Friday night. Short one to Conker. Conker to Tuck. Tuck sends a long, high ball. Lake comes across the pack. 3 Dogs. Well, they needed a 4th on the deck, and that worked out okay. Grant missed the target, though. Jackson slipped over. McGuan does well.
Now to King. King's got a few options onto the left. Just blazes away.
Oh.
Roughhead in the end got a hand onto it. Just the minor score. Hard to believe that 12 minutes ago this was a 6-point ball game, as we see the deliberate from Hooper. Bounces once the right way, and all is well.
Had another game, another time, that would have been okay.
Yeah.
Boys,
I'm talking about rugby, though.
Sorry, boys. The Bulldogs have made their sub. Fletcher Roberts has come on for his first game, and Big Tommy Campbell's the man who's been subbed off.
He's a key position type player, this Fletcher Roberts, so it'll be interesting to see him strut his stuff this afternoon. He's just a young kid, 18 years of age, from the Sandy Dragons TAC competition.
Kicked 5 in the final of the TAC Cup, 4 in the last term. Look forward to seeing him play. Jakira just goes short, and there he is. On cue, first touch in AFL football. His kick is perfect. That's a nice way to start.
Beautiful way to start.
You're amazing. You want to see him? He just turns up.
Who would you like to see? Name a name.
Will Minson.
Well, Deledio to Hooley. Skinner chases. Little one to Cochin. Over the top again to Deledio. So the names for the Tigers have wrestled this game back in their favour. 6.3 13 minutes ago, 28 points now. Oh, that's nice and neat and tidy to Jack Revolt. And the Tigers felt a little pressure and have pressed the issue.
They've been amazing, haven't they? The last 5 minutes, their level of intensity. Jake King has been getting plenty of the ball too. This is a really good kick. This final kick into the 50, that's the most important kick, and that could not have been placed any better for Jack Revolt.
Couldn't have been defended any better either, could it?
No.
I mean, the swipe just missed the footy.
It was just the perfect kick in full stride.
So Revolt to the city end to make it 4. His kick off the boot is perfect. The Tigers fans love it, and suddenly this game is back out to 34 points. 14 minutes ago it was just a goal.
That was very nice, the build-up there from the Tigers. Finishing up on the chest of that man. He now has 4 goals.
Dennis, that's when they're at their best. When they had that real purple patch, the Tigers, they were devastating off about half back. I mean, their ability to overlap and run and share the ball, and that's exactly what we saw there again.
So Jack's got 53 goals now in the Coleman. Matthew Pavlich on top with 57. As the Rucks go at it, Minson knocks it down. Of course, a big Friday night for the Saints. Big question in football circles. Will his cousin play? Jack's cousin Nick. I doubt he will. The way he came off the ground yesterday. Very unlikely. Skinner takes the mark inside the forward 50. But the Saints need to keep on winning.
Good kick, this one too. To Skinner. He's got plenty of talent, but he just is a little bit too relaxed about the way he plays. I'm not sure if he's picked up completely the tempo of AFL footy, but he's got some tricks, Zeph Skinner.
Maybe he's
the last one.
Just cool. Here he is. What we did like was his kick at goal last time. Needs more distance on this kick, but I tell you what, he's got it. Well done, young fella. Now they're saying it came off the hand onto the post.
I believe the ball hit the post on the way through. We checked the vision.
Okay.
Here we go.
Video review. We believe the ball has hit the post.
Umpire Hay.
Got nothing to add? Okay.
I reckon the hand, mate. Well,
No, it's hit the post.
hit the post.
Yeah, it's hit the
Yeah,
post.
it
It's
has
pretty
hit
shade off the
completed.
post, changed
The
angle.
ball has hit the post, confirmed behind.
All clear.
Is that Darth Vader doing the work up in the umpire's box?
I think it might be.
Well, mate.
Move on. There's nothing for you here as the ball goes towards the outer side. Picked up by Martin.
To Ellis, now to Hooley, and he's on the burst. A couple of bounces. He streams down the wing and now inside 50. A long ball underneath it since Cochin. Lake in front spot. Talia took it pretty well, just dished it off. Cochin still lurks ominously. The bottom of the pack underneath it all. Nahas.
Right. Well done, Benny. Well done, Adam. Good processing. Thanks, Brian.
Mitch Wallace has gone out of the game. Had, I think, from memory, 13 or 14 at halftime. Might have been 15. He's only got 17 now.
Here we go. A chance for Edwards. He's got another. The Dogs are pointing.
Lukey, got a chop.
Now it's hit the post at the end. Edwards celebrated. Dogs pointed to the post. They worked it all out. A minor score, the result. So it's been a good and a bad term for the Dogs. It was very good for the opening sort of 13 minutes. And then it got a little bit ugly. And the margin now, 34 points.
Kick straight down the middle. Talia got a hand to it. Jan Siracusa couldn't get through into the grasp of Marriage. Vinson's in there as well. They had two players. The umpire's got it right, umpire Farmer, in as much as his own man was battling for the ball. Two Dogs disputing the footy there.
Play on.
And there's the kick from Marriage inside the forward 50, just stepping around his man. Cochin takes the easiest of marks.
He's a genius.
This bloke is an absolute gun. Timmy, what do you think? Brownlow medal? I know I've called Job for the Brownlow, but maybe we're looking at the bloke who might pip him.
You can't take it off his son after you declared it earlier in the year.
Hang on, I want to hear from Tim on this one. What do you think, Tim?
Well, I think he's definitely a Brownlow medal chances. His last month and a half of footy has been extraordinary, Cochin.
Cochin comes in and he puts it through.
All clear.
He's got two.
He just stepped around John then. I mean, he's a young kid. He's playing his first game, and that's what he's out there to do. He's out there to learn. And Brendan McCartney hasn't been afraid to place some of his young players on really good, experienced players in the opposition too, because he thinks that's going to accelerate their development. And you're going to have to live with some errors from time to time because of that.
But you see that with experienced players too, don't you? I mean, sometimes they go back to find the body and the body ain't there. And this guy's a beauty, as we've said, so no easy thing.
Here it is. He thinks he's got him where he wants him, and just a tap on the body, and then he's in the best position to take the mark. And really, when it got close, it was this bloke going back into the centre bounce that changed things around again.
Still yet to play 100 games, Cochin, but he's played 83 of them, and most of them have been outstanding in this jersey for the Tigers. He's underneath it all again. Fletcher Roberts. So Jong and Roberts, the debutants, up against Cochin in the last minute or so. Martin, little one to Hooley. Short ball. Well, Murphy charged at the football. Was grand and then just forced the issue. Now to Hooper. Hooper, little one. Through the middle they go. Smith, Murphy. Murphy dishes it off. Sherman to 55. Finds the loose man. And Jared Grant continued to run. Now, he goes short again. Skinner. He's been good this afternoon with the set shot. He'll have another opportunity now.
That's a good call from you, because Grant was in the middle of the play. In the ground, he actually ran at the ball. He's been playing on the halfback flank, so he just decided, OK, took a bit of a risk in doing that, but you have to when you play AFL football. You're backing your own teammates that they'll win the ball. You run into the space and just hope you're on the end of something.
Well, Skinner. Another for the Dogs, perhaps. Nice, easy motion. He fires away, and he's got another. Big afternoon for Skinner. 34 points the margin now, 90 seconds to play before three-quarter time. It's a big margin when you consider it was a goal at the 10-minute mark of this term, but Skinner, he's delivered a few times this afternoon, Den.
Nice style too. I mean, he doesn't look like he's going to miss, does he? Very confident about his kicking at goal, this young man.
Unusual ball drop there, Dennis, isn't it?
Yeah. He drops it actually outside the line of his body almost, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Lefties look more relaxed, don't they? It's a very cool sort of kick at the football.
Yeah.
I agree, Hame. Spot on.
One of the great left footers of all time talking there.
There's the bounce. Minson taps it down. Cotchin in the grasp. Did well. Made light of a bad situation. Conker. And now Jackson storming through midfield. Sends it down to a 2-on-1. And Murphy did well. Took care of McGuan. Let Talia take the mark. Wanted the ball back, Murphy, but the kick goes to the opposite pocket. Johannesson's got it. Goes along the boundary line. In front, Jan Siracusa. This ball's still in. Well done by White. Pulls it back to Cotchin. Cotchin coming up for possession number 25.
You know, when you watch a game of football, you just wonder how the best midfielder on the ground can find that much space at that part of the ground, don't you?
Cotchin goes for distance. I tell you what, he'll pay money for this tape. We've given him a good run. Off hands and through for a minor. We like the boy, but it's a minor score.
Tim, I think Brendan McCartney might be asking the exact same question at three-quarter time.
How does Trent Cotchin get loose, Lingy?
Absolutely.
At that part of the ground, though, Lingy, when you're that dangerous and you really are one of the...
Well, here's the man again. He has been brilliant and everything related to brilliant in the dictionary. And if the umpires listen to our tape before the votes, he gets 3 this afternoon. Again, just desperate, Tim, and wanted the football.
And that's the level of concentration that he applies to his footy. Like that wasn't necessarily a bad kick. It was slow and it took a while to reach its target or its destiny, but he just wants to stay in the game, this bloke.
Well, he's a player every coach wants on their list and the kind of guy every mum wants their daughter to marry. He's got another. Cotchin's on fire.
Well, that kick was so slow that you would think a Dogs player could have sung out to young Talia, you have to go, you have to go. He just waited and waited. It almost smacks of a lack of talking.
Stop. Okay.
Jake just trying to make the afternoon interesting for him. There it is.
He saw it before it happened, didn't he?
Yep.
It was Hargrave, an experienced player, not Talia. Sorry. That's Talia. Sorry again. Look, especially to Ryan.
I'll only tell you one more time. Okay?
Oh, yes. Nice work, Tim. Look at Koch. He's got an old face, hasn't he? He looks like a guy. He plays like a guy beyond his years, but he looks like he's in his mid-20s too. There's the bounce. Is that a good or bad thing? Conker gives it across to Tuck. It comes to Ellis. Ellis sends it out wide. Talia in front, nudged beyond the football by Cotchin. Cotchin sends a high ball inside the forward 50. Fitting that he finished with the football. His influence pronounced in the term when they were being challenged. The Dogs, believe it or not, got within a goal. Now it's 118-77. They built on their halftime lead of 30. Three-quarter time on Sunday football, and the Tigers look victors.
You have a look at the Worm. 10-minute mark, third term, 6 points only. And then it was Grigg, Newman, Martin, Revolt, a couple more to Cotchin, and just Skinner intercepted all those goals. Let's go down to Cameron Ling. He's with Justin Lepich, who would have enjoyed the latter part of that third term.
Well, Leper, was it frustrating the first part of that quarter with the lapse in concentration?
Yeah, that's what it was, wasn't it? They took 6 marks inside 50 that quarter, so not great from my end. We've got to, look, we want to be up near the best teams in the competition. We've got to improve those sorts of results. And
the man who got you back there, Trent Cotchin, just a sensational quarter and game.
Yeah, sometimes structures go out the window when you got good players, don't you? And he's a beauty.
Thanks for your time, mate.
Speaking of beauties there, 2 triple premiership players. That wouldn't happen too often, just shooting the breeze at three-quarter time at the MCG. So 17-16, 118 to 12-5-77.
That's the trouble with all these stats now too, Dennis. They can identify the weak areas of the ground and go straight to the line cage.
Yeah, but sometimes coaches, we talked about this with these alternate scoreboards, take some heart from being inside 50 as much as the opposition and losing by 10 goals. I mean, all it identifies really is you've got a very weak forward line.
That's right. Yeah. And then there's entries into the 50 and there's entries into the 50.
And there's deep entries into the 50.
There's shallow entries.
Shallow,
there's deep
yes.
entries.
And sometimes they kick it back in there as well.
Re-entries.
Re-entries. Umpire Farmer's got it. Agrarian compared to all that techno. It's knocked down. Opportunity. Got him in the chicken wing. Down goes Delidio, and that hurt the shoulder.
Delidio free. Dumped him. Play on. Time on.
How about that? Yeah, someone said the pick and wing. Quite right. It comes out wide, and the mark is taken by Revolt. Oh, it might have been his hand after all of that. False alarm as the ball goes down towards the pocket. McGuinn's in front. Well done by Jong. Opportunity for Murphy. Couldn't get the ball going. Conker fell to the ground. Cochin a half chance. Ball ricochets back towards Conker. Strong tackle by Cochin. 55 metres out, and the umpire circling the pack and is holding the ball.
Must make a genuine attempt. It's free.
What about his second effort then, Cochin, though, too? Here's the tackle. Just grab a lever. Any lever will do.
That's becoming very prevalent.
Well, it is, because players are very good at getting their arms free any tackle and then still getting the ball off. That's a great kick.
How did Juddy get 4 weeks? Onto the chest of Revolt, who's marked about 20 metres out. So Jack here could get his 5th.
That was just the most exquisite kick that you're ever likely to see outside 50 into 50. Watch this again. Just beautifully positioned. I mean, Brendan McCartney's probably pulled his hair out a few times in the last half hour, but that should never have been allowed, that space for him to be able to run into there.
I think moments ago I called McGuan McGlynn. Just one of those moments I have from time to time. Here's Revolt going at number 5 then. We're right behind him. Kick is on the way, and he hangs it out to the right. Gee. Can't win the Coleman doing that. He's closing in on the path, but...
Boys, Richmond have activated their sub. Bradley Helbig's the man to come on the ground, and Jaden Post has been subbed off.
77 plays 119.
Just on that Coleman ladder, Pav is on 57, Jack Revolt 53. So see what he can do in this final term. Cochin again involved. Delidio now wide to Griffiths. A booming kick of the football. This time he just goes long again. Where is the man that we're speaking about? Out the back is Martin. In the end, Talia did well. And to that first gamer, Roberts just works it away. Boyd under pressure, got rid of it to Jong. And Jong to the outer side. Lake and Rance. And Rance, he read it pretty well in the air, kept possession. Now to Grigg. Grigg to Morris. Morris, short ball, bouncing ball. Martin goes inside. Marriage might get it back again. Wallace did well in the end. And now Boyd can clear, but it's going to come back. It's all Tigers. Rance short. Grigg is there. He'll wheel onto the left boot. All pretty stationary inside 50 for the Tigers at the moment. Now the long ball. McGuan on the lead, dropping in front. Roberts on debut.
50 metres, put the ball out of the hand.
So Fletcher Roberts, we saw him get his first touch not so long ago. It was good to Jan Siracusa. A late in for Ryan Griffin, just 19 years of age. He works it forward this time, not so good. And Grigg for the Tigers will switch, and he's got a runner on. And Griffiths will go further afield to Jackson, who's on the lead in front of Murphy.
So Jackson's got it, left half back. 119, plays 77, goes back towards the middle and Tuck. Tuck goes deep in defence to Rance. Rance scuttles away, drives it towards the outer side wing. That's a good kick. It bounces obligingly for Grigg. They've got men on now around the outer side. This is McGuan. He's about 85 metres from goal. Revolt comes on a lead, marks outside the 50. Cochin's on the move. He tried to give it to Cochin. Hit rough. Head comes back to him now. Revolt's in trouble. Jakira just loped at that one. Took far too long. Diving in McGuan. Stolen away by Jan Siracusa. Comes to Boyd. Wonderful hand pass. Gave it to Wallace. Wallace gets a man in the air that time. Johannesson, but still okay. Didn't rob him of his momentum. Kicks inside the forward 50. Is that in the back? Lake played for it. He dived forward over the top. Rance, and that's holding the ball. Knew he was coming there, Brian Lake, and tried to earn the free, but the umpire wouldn't be foxed.
Johannessen's going to learn from that, but that really was the wrong kick. It was to a 2-on-1. They had to just try and spread out a little bit more from the centre part of the ground until they got some numbers down in that part of the ground.
So King on the end of a few short balls via hand and boot. Now inside he goes.
Oh.
Edwards sold his man right into trouble as Helbig, who's just come on the ground. And Minson, he sits on top and makes him think about his early moments of round 20.
Came out.
Will taking all his frustrations out about the afternoon on poor old Helbig. Just came on the ground.
Well, Wakery boy Helbig, big fan of Mark Rasciuto, went to West Adelaide, played his footy there. Wears 32 of Rasciuto's on the ground this afternoon for the Tigers. Little under Griffiths, now to King. What can he set up? Just arches his back and runs. Long ball on the end of it. Revolt. Well, in the end, Roughhead got his left fist on it. Bouncing ball, McGuan. Little under Nahas. Thought about Ellis. Brings it back inside. Well done to Ivan Maric. Couldn't take the mark, though, to Smith. Now Murphy's under some pressure. Quickly, Fletcher Roberts just takes the ball to the wing, and Wallace is there. What can they build from here? Brian Lake the option. He does well. Leads Rance well. He got in the right spot. Couldn't take it cleanly. Rance just crashes through. Bouncing ball. Picks it up inside to Ellis. Back now to Rance. Inside 50. Jack is there. Jack couldn't take it. Roberts was good though. Talia as well. The youngsters getting involved. Now to Jared Grant. His kick is good to Dixon.
I would imagine the parents of those two boys on a collision course on the wing, all close friends, Wallace and Rance, would have taken a deep sigh as they were running at each other. Neither of them take a backward step. Jakira kicks inside the forward 50 off hands. Paddling it towards the boundary. Gian Siracusa did nicely. Goes back looking for Hargrave. Well played, Morris. But the ball follows Hargrave across the line, so a boundary throw in. Mitch Wallace, quiet third term, but he's had a good afternoon. 20 possessions. Emerging player, as was Tom Liberatore until this week. Those boys came through together. Edwards in trouble. That's holding the ball surely. Dixon did well. He's a heady footballer, Dixon. I keep singing his praises, but I like him a lot.
I think you're right too, and I think your call earlier was a really good one too. If he played in a side that was a little bit more accomplished than the Bulldogs, then we'd be seeing a little bit more of him, and he may have a few more goals than what he's kicked already this season.
Yeah, he does everything pretty well.
He's had plenty of the ball this afternoon too.
Yeah,
I mean, 16 disposals. He sees the field though when he's got the ball. That's the other thing that
he
is
looks
good about him.
He looks for alternatives, doesn't he?
He does.
Well, we pumped him up. He better kick this. When he comes, wow.
Just
he was looking for an alternative there, Tim.
He was. Just watching Brian Lake, we saw a shot of Brendan McCartney just before three-quarter time having a chat to Brian on the bench, and Brian's just showing a little bit more desperation in the times that he's been involved in passages of play. I just wonder whether or not that's where the conversation went.
Well, Griffiths to Hawley and now to King. So Jakira holds him up for the moment. Opted for the one long sleeve this afternoon. Short ball, Grigg. Grigg and Hawley, Tim, from the Blues and the Bombers have been really useful, haven't they?
Great acquisitions, yep.
Missed one game between them since they started. Now Delidio, he claims the ball. Umpire says play on. Back to Grigg. Over the top to Newman. Well-weighted ball. Runner inside is Helbig. Ignored for the moment. Switch to Morris. Morris has got a bit of space. A rare luxury in this game. Runs himself into a bit of trouble. Handball not so good. Corralled. Morris goes and gets it again. Tried to find McGuan. Ended up with Jan Siracusa. Now to Sherman. Sweeping ball to Hargrave. No one at home except Minson. In that direction. It's a one-on-one now. Griffiths, hand onto it. Minson without a heap of speed. Sherman, he gets in, gives a bit of support, goes to Minson. Minson, pretty agricultural in the end, over the top, and gives away the free kick.
Kick was too early going in from Ryan, wasn't it?
Yeah, it didn't need to pull the trigger on it that early.
Griffin has hurt that right knee.
Particularly when you go to Minson, who's pretty much a stationary target. There you go, there's the knee injury, just banging from the side there from Addison. That's a nasty one, that one.
Yeah, hopefully he's okay. There's Morris. Bounces one to Helbig.
Oh, gee.
Helbig, what was he thinking? Eventually it rolls across towards Hooley, goes down towards half forward, and the good mark is taken by Grant. Not paid, they're outnumbered. Nahas, I think, just came on the ground through the interchange bench. Johannesson kicks it down towards half forward, and the mark is taken by Lake, who copped one, I think, in the midsection. There's Griffiths coming off under his own steam, so that's good news. Still recuperating as Lake, told to play on, just sets it up, looking for Big Will. He's in front, couldn't take the mark though. Hooley gets the crumb, camped in front of the pack. Nice kick coming out, finds McGuan.
Brian still doubled over, just trying to recover after that. Looked like a bit of a whack in the midsection.
And quite funnily, Steve Morris on the mark. Just let him know that he should harden up a little bit. Had a few words to say.
Newman fires the ball long. Van Marich, White both there for the Tigers. A little clever one over the top from Marich. Now to Edwards. Squares it up. Revolt on the end of it. Can he take it cleanly? Boyd will swoop onto the loose ball. Send it wide. Skinner was pretty good there. Now to Murphy. To Roughhead. Just worked his way through it. Jong fumbled the ball. Marich grabs hold of him. Good one from Dixon to Jared Grannon. Around the corner it goes. But Newman will end up on the end of it all.
Oh. He paid the high tackle because you could hear the umpire singing out touch ball. There was a bit of confusion there for a moment.
So Newman now just off a step. Ivan Marich, Skinner once, twice, not the third. Nahas, normally pretty creative in this scenario, gets hands on the ball, but the Dogs hold it up for the moment. Lingy, while we've got you there, any positives as we see Brian Lake with Morris just going around sort of the rib area? What are the positives for the Dogs this afternoon?
Well, I've liked the games of some of the younger guys. Mitch Wallace has been very good through the middle, getting his hands on the footy. But I've also liked Jordan Roughhead down back. Surprisingly, Rewald has kicked 4 goals, but I've liked the way he's battled on, and he'll learn a lot from today's game.
So maybe we've found a defender. Newman spent a lot of time in defence, finds himself forward.
All the numbers are back here for the Dogs.
To the top of the square, Martin sets himself. Revolt from the side, off hands. White, Murphy over the top, didn't give a free away. Edwards fires and hits the post.
A dangerous little player, Edwards, isn't he?
Yeah.
In the attacking 50. And the other thing I reckon has been good about him, Dennis, is that he's a very unselfish player too. He's always looking to put a player in a better position.
12 minutes gone in the term. Still no goal. Smith comes away. Well, not sure what he saw down the ground, but Delidio's got it. Looks inside. Now he pops it towards the boundary line, but getting back is Murphy. Quite often players go for that pocket situation because if it comes off hands, they get a stoppage and a chance to regroup. So I suppose guys who played football even 20 years ago see that as being sacrilege, kicking to the pocket, but that's very much in the thinking of players these days. Helbig going for the spoil, then finds it on the full. Just jams it to Conker, who's been a busy player this afternoon. Conker to Grigg. Runs through the centre square. Kicks again towards the pocket, although this time Revolt was offering in that direction. Opposed by 3. Roughhead to Boyd. Around the back is Smith. But Smith bumped as he kicked. Is that a mark? No. King picked it up on the half volley, does brilliantly. Wrong foot's one opponent, sends it down towards full forward, and McGuan takes the mark.
He's shown a bit as a forward too, hasn't he?
Well, I reckon he went down there initially, as you say, to be the teaser stallion, if you like, and also as a grunt man.
Yep.
Hard to do both sometimes, but...
Terrible role, the teaser stallion.
Oh, wouldn't it be shocking?
Somebody's going to be happy to know.
Kick is good. McGuan gets another one. McGuan just finding his niche in the scheme of things. McGuan now has booted 3 this afternoon. And sometimes when you throw the team around, you find a diamond, and they've found one in McGuan. Probably not big enough to be a key defender. They tried to make him one. Didn't work out.
Well, it's been a dramatic week at the Western Bulldogs. We know that they suspended Tom Liberatore. He's not training with the group either. Did they make the right decision on both accounts?
Oh, absolutely, Tim. I think it's a good decision. They've shown that it's unacceptable to behave in that way at the Western Bulldogs, so they've set the standards. And what they've done is they've shown him what it can be like if he doesn't have his beloved football. Now he's got to go away and learn from it. He's got to earn back that trust that he gave away by his actions, and once he does, he'll come back a better player.
Well, the Tigers on the march again. This time it's Cochin, puts it onto the chest of Jackson, gets it back again now to the hot spot. The defenders for the Dogs have got to be good here. Off hands, King taken high, gives it off to Nahas. Around the corner again. And Nahas delivers at the beloved punt road end. Tim, it's all got pretty ugly pretty quickly. It got to within 6 points, as we've said, and they've kicked 8 of the last 9 now, the Tigers.
And that's what Rowan Smith was talking about at half-time with Lingy, about their lapses of concentration. They're OK for a half of football, a quarter of a football, but they haven't been able to go with teams for the full 120 minutes to 4 quarters. So Nahas is, he's only had an average sort of a day. The bloke that has been really good is Jake King, 20 possessions as a small forward. You see Jake King there just winning the ball again in tight, giving the handball off to Robbie Nahas. And that is a very good finish.
132 to 78. Knocked down by Marriage, taken there by Pickin, gave it across towards Wallace. He found Boyd. Boyd went to Grant. Short one across to Minson. Now back it comes to the first gamer in Roberts. A very late inclusion. Ryan Griffin broke down prior to the game. Back spasm. Ball goes towards the outer side from Morris, taken by White. On the burst is Martin. Another of these midfield dashes sends it long to the square. Revolt? No. Loose at the back. Back first is Murphy. Murphy the short one. Johannesson dropped it. Tried to recover the situation. Boyd has it. Roughhead feigns a hand pass. Put it at the feet of Boyd. Boyd with the poise. Combining with Murphy. Kick comes up towards the wing. Taken under the ball. Addison by Newman. Tuck will keep it in. Plenty of help back towards the middle. Knew where the help was. Goes across to Hooley. Hooley falling to the ground. That's interesting. Hooley is hurt.
He copped a knee in the head from Sherman there. He's not too bad, though. He's bounced up, Dennis.
Meantime, Ellis just floats one towards the logo. Back goes Addison. Hargrave. Nice handball. Pickin goes looking for Jakira, who took the mark, runs inside the 50, looks goalward and misses. Or is he going for goal? No, it was offline. It was very close to the goal line. That's in the back. So Hooley gets the free kick. But Jakira really needed to go for goal or just get it out a little further from the goal line. As it turned out, it wasn't forced through for a behind. Jackson's got the footy.
They work it around the Tigers to one of their senior men. I mean, Tim, it's not often you've got 6 players playing in one side that have debuted this year. And the Dogs have got that this afternoon. The Tigers, though, have a big lead, and they might just add to it here. Deledio, long ball, Revolt, Roughhead. Cameron Ling has liked the work that Roughhead has done. This time, though, it's a free kick, and it's going the way of the Tigers.
Mark, Jordan, Mark's back here. Back here. Ryan, come out. Come on back.
And Brian's still recovering from that hit in the comic cuts.
Rob, 1 metre. 1 metre. In line with me. Yep, right there. Right there.
He's doing a Ron Burgundy on the mark. He's trying to walk it off.
Well, Revolt hits it in the fat side of the ball. Or in the middle of the ball.
He made a meal of that, didn't he, Jack?
Ron Burgundy tried to just walk it off, Den.
He did. Hard to do. Edwards, how is that? I think we've given him the award as the most improved player in the AFL. He's coming along very nicely, Tim.
Well, he's had 20 touches this afternoon. 9 of those have been contested possessions, but he's kicked 3 goals. 4,
and he's expected to live off scraps on the forward line, isn't he? He's sort of the pinch hitter down there, just roaming the packs.
It's been a graveyard for so many players, that small half forward. But when you look at the numbers of Edwards this afternoon, like he's had his 20, and Jakey King, who I mentioned before, has had 20. So they're 2 small forwards who've actually had 40 disposals between them.
That's outstanding, isn't it? Mind you, it's been in there.
Well, that's the 4th time Edwards has kicked 3 goals.
That's a lovely soft touch then from Marriage too, wasn't it?
Farmer to Goggin. Back in the middle, Minson taps it down. Oh, down goes Wallace. I would imagine Wallace is Marge Simpson's favourite player. Ball comes down towards half forward. Under the ball, Skinner. He was pushed in the back. He's going to get the free kick.
Mark's there, hold there.
And on the mark, standing on the 50.
Hold.
Oh, sorry, Dennis. On what we've seen so far, this looks to be outside his range, doesn't it?
Yes. Although I think he's got an extra gear. He just does what's required. I think wherever he practiced, probably had a fence behind the goalpost very close, and you had to go and box it. So he just kicks it with enough to get it 2 metres over the line, Timmy.
They're measured.
Well, watch this. This will take a good kick. No, it won't get the distance. Missed down there, almost an opportunity for Picken at the back, but the ball bounces through behind. So just over 4 minutes to go. Bearing in mind the Western Bulldogs within a goal at the 14-minute mark, I think it was, of the second term, was it?
Third quarter.
Third quarter.
And they've now, the Tigers, kicked their biggest tally of the year, 2018. They kicked 137 against the Hawks and had their biggest win of the year. That was 62 points in round 9. Right now the margin 59, and you'd think with the momentum they have, they might just register their biggest win of the year. Edwards flicks it forward, chance for Deledio, runs and picks up the loose ball. A pair of threes on the outer side. Deledio to Revolt. Terrific hands in there, and good pass that needed to be finished off, and it was. Revolt plucked the ball.
That's a tough mark on the full lead like that, isn't it?
Well, just the barrel. Probably not a set play, but it's going to work out okay. And Edwards on the end of it.
That's always effective, that chaos ball, isn't it? Yeah, you just send it in there, and invariably something good happens.
Well, funnily enough, it's always forwards that react first. Just watch this again. I mean, it's a talk that just didn't get anywhere, and there's Edwards and his direct opponent, Grant, who has already spent a little bit of time on the sidelines with the coach for that very reason, and a lack of concentration, lack of body work against his direct opponent.
Well, this is his 8th shot at goal. 3 goals, 4. And suddenly it's 4 goals, 4. A big afternoon for Titch Edwards.
And really on that performance, you're talking about him being maybe one of the best 3 players on the ground for the Tigers. I mean, Cochin is clearly the #1 player. I mean, Deludio's had plenty of the ball, and Martin's had plenty of the ball, but the work that this bloke's done in and around the ball, he's kicked, as we mentioned before, he's kicked 4 behinds as well. So there's 8 shots at goal. But you see Grant there just trailing him in, and again he lost him in flight, and that's all part of his education process if he's to become a defender.
Well, they tell me it's mathematically possible, Tim. What do you think?
Yeah, it's going to be tough. I mean, that Fremantle game will decide their season next week. That's on the road.
Rucks go at it. Minson taps it down. Crawling after it is Boyd.
Right footy, both dragged it in.
Yeah, if they take the 4 points, I mean, obviously Fremantle can't get the 4 points. That's another team that they're competing with for that bottom of the 8 side. Do I sum up that right?
Yeah, no, that was good. Especially that bit about if they win, they can't get the 4 points because the other side will have the 4 points. There's Boyd. Don't get technical with me, Tim. Hand pass forward. It's taken by that young man, Roberts. Gets it across to Smith. Smith, the high ball inside the forward 50. The mark is taken by Rance. Invariably, those teams that are said to be in with a mathematical hope don't make it. It's been my experience. Martin over the top, little 1-2.
Not much movement there from Deledio.
No, Deledio's had enough.
He must be anchored.
He goes back. Grigg comes across to Rance. Rance short. Finds Helbig. Helbig just jabs it towards half forward. Hooley, Cochin. He's drifted out of the game when the game was safe. Says something about how good a player he is. Short one to Morris. Some players aren't so great when the stakes are low.
Play on.
This guy is terrific when the stakes are high. You can see that. Not that Richmond have played in that many games where the stakes are extremely high. Oops. Oh. Helbig kicked it directly to Jong. Jong hand passes across towards Hooper. Hooper goes for goal. Hits the post. Just above the fat bit.
Lin Jong on your screen. Debutant this afternoon for the Doggies, just 19 years of age.
I'll tell you what, though, if you know, like for a young kid out there playing his first game. He's had 15 disposals. There's a bit to work with this kid.
Oh, he's been good.
And Mark Austin, Tom Campbell, Jason Johannesson, all rookies that have gotten a chance at senior level this year.
Well, McCartney's had to turn his list over. He's just trying to work out exactly what he's got at his disposal.
So the Tigers work it through, although not so cleanly. Deledio had to wait for the bounce, and now he puts his man under a bit of pressure. But Grigger's up for the challenge. Little one to Helbig. He just breaks the tackle and works the ball to the outer side. Cochin, bouncing ball, got Boyd to beat. Got a bit of space. Cochin on the outer side. Over the top. Nahas is on the lead. Grant up for the task of taking him over.
Cochin 35 now, hey?
He is universally admired, and Boyd, he's normally a high getter of touches. Tim, how many this afternoon?
He's had 32 as well, so that's just an average game for him.
He's an accumulator, isn't he?
He is, yeah. Just hasn't had enough helpers this afternoon.
Picken kicks the ball. Jan Siracusa now to Fletcher Roberts, the other debutant with Lin Jong this afternoon, and he obligingly kicks it to the man that between them have not quite 2 games under their belts. To Skinner and over the top. Maybe something late here for the Dogs. Jan Siracusa, Morris, Martin. Martin does well, picks it up, gets around Hooper pretty easily in the end, and he starts to bounce and bring it towards Freeman. Hooley over the top. Jackson, he's not going to get it on this exchange. They work it through the middle. Deledio now to Newman, and Newman takes a bounce. Further afield he looks. A long ball out the back. Edwards is there. He's been good this afternoon, as is Cochin. Nahas crumbs it well over the top. Can Revolt get another? Onto the left and around the corner. And Jack's got 5. So in the end, the Tigers will win, as they needed to do, to keep the weakest of finals pulses still pulsing, and it's going to be their biggest win of the season at the MCG. They beat the Hawks here by 62 earlier on. That was in round 9. 70 the margin now, and just a reminder, it was 6 points in the 3rd term.
Yep, and from that moment onwards, it was all one-way traffic, and it was all to the Tigers' end. Cochin put himself into the midfield. Deledio went back into the midfield. Martin went into the midfield. And whatever challenge had been mounted by the Bulldogs, they were able to switch that around very quickly.
Highest score under Damien Hardwick, this one for the Tigers. So despite a lacklustre 3rd term, they've really come on strong. And even when you talk about the 3rd term, it was more the first half of it than the second half. 2 star players shake hands on the siren as the Tigers record a big victory. They win by 70 points on a Sunday. Midway through the 3rd term, it was inevitable. The Dogs had their moments today, but depleted coming in, and then they became more depleted. Let's go down to Cameron Lee.
Well, Koch, in the end, a really pleasing win, 80 points, but they challenged it in the 3rd quarter, and you guys were able to respond.
Yeah, we knew they were a really good contested side, and obviously their clearances following those. So just to make sure. I think the longer the game went on, the more width we had and the more run, obviously.
You probably don't want to talk about yourself too much, but through the middle of the ground yourself, Deledio, Martin, just really dominant performance from the midfield.
Yeah, I think it really helps when all our midfielders are contributing. Obviously, it's hard to tag 5 or 6 players, so when we can get our numbers up throughout the whole game and continue that through the rest of the season, it's going to make it hard for teams to stop our midfield.
Great game, mate. Well done.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Seems a nice young man. Plenty of style. From game 1, he was a stylist. And speaking of game 1, he'd be happy with his debut. Some guys look as if they belong. And I think that's the important thing on debut as we go back to Cameron Ling.
Well, Dustin, we just gave the high five to Trent Cochin. He just continues to get better and better, doesn't he?
Oh, mate. He's an absolute superstar. He's one of the best players in the competition, if not the best. I just love playing with him.
yourself, Deledio, Cochin, starting to really build a good quality midfield and spending games together now. You're getting to know each other pretty well through there.
Yeah, that's it. We were pretty disappointing last year in the midfield, I think, and this year we're in the top 4 with a lot of the stats. So yeah, Tucky, you know, Jacko, all the other boys that roll through there, they're really good.
Really important that you guys finish off the year on a positive note. Still a chance to make finals, but this must be great that you're stringing some wins together now.
Yeah, exactly. We want to finish off with a win every week, so build into next year, and as I said, who knows what can happen.
Well done, mate. Thanks for your time.
Appreciate it, mate.
So the Tigers, they get the job done in the end after a brief scare in the third term. 22-18, 150. The Dogs 12-8-80.